Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's better. I hate talking and not being able to hear myself. A very warm welcome to the Burnside Bowling Club again for the second weekend of finals at the World Bowls Championships 2008. And today you're in for a treat, and hopefully a few of your mates will come along to support the two teams here today. First of all, this morning we have the men's fours final between two long-standing rivals, of course. First of all, the team which played 11 was unbeaten in section play, and then beat Wales 27-9 and England 23-14. The team lead is Bill Cornell's, the 2 is Wayne Turley, the 3 is Nathan Rice, and the skip is Mark Casey. Please welcome Australia. And in section play, they played 11, won 9 and lost 2. One of those to this team here today. In post-section, they beat Ireland 20-17 and South Africa 21-9. The team is Andrew Todd, Richard Gervin at 2, Russell Meyer 3, and Gary Lawson the skip. It is the team from New Zealand. And controlling things today, the umpires Ken Chapman of Australia and Eddie Williams of Wales. The shot indicator is Mort Young, and on the scoreboards, Tony Burbage and Malcolm Kidd. The final of the men's 4 at the World Bowls Championships. Good luck, gentlemen.
A Trans-Tasman Battle Royal, and it's Australia Day as well. The great clash of gold between Australia and New Zealand, and conditions are superb.
Yes, absolutely brilliant conditions at the Burnside Bowling Club for the finals weekend of the World Bowls Championships. The green running at 18 seconds. There's no wind to be felt at all, and cloudy, overcast skies.
So Andrew Todd for New Zealand leading off for New Zealand in the battle for gold here at Burnside. He delivers down the backhand side. You said coming into your picture now. The brown spec bowls of Andrew Todd, of course, born in New Zealand but domiciled in Australia. What a great opener it is from Andrew Todd. Behind the jack, that's a class act.
Yes, the players having had the opportunity for a couple of trial ends prior to the commencement of play. Andrew Todd quickly into his work, picking the pace of the green up very early.
So he went down the backhand. Down the forehand side is the lead for Australia. That's Bill Cornell's, and he's playing with the green bowl. You see that arriving now on the head, just a little bit heavier from Bill Cornell's, and turns his back on, in fact, not very happy at all. You can see why. So 2 bowls each in pairs and in fours, of course. 2 bowls each, 2 from each lead. Then we have the 2s in action, then the 3s, then the skips, and that's on camera. That is Andrew Todd. Good first up bowl. He's going down the left-hand side or coming out of your right-hand side of the pitcher, and he's played it well too. He's enjoying that hand. It's interesting, the Australians playing down the other side, and that's where a lot of the pairs play was played between, and the singles, but especially that one between Ellen Faulkner and Val Smith.
Certainly so. In the previous 4 finals that have been played on this rink, there's been a lot of play down the forehand side as we delivered from the players' end. The green bowl coming down that particular side of the green. Andrew Todd is one of the rare players that has gone on to what we have seen in the past has been a little bit wider hand.
Richard Gervin, his first bowl, the purple bowl, and he's left-hander, so he's playing across his body. It's his backhand, but it's the right-hand side of the rink, which was used also by the lead, Bill Cornell's. Good start too from Richard Gervin. Went on just a little bit. This is quick.
Very, very quick green this morning. We were out with the greenkeeper at an early stage this morning, having a look at the conditions and trialling the green out for the pace of it. The green running at a good 18 seconds, just a tick over 18 seconds. So a very quick pace for the game today.
Now the number 2 for Australia, that's Wayne Turley. Turls, you'll hear him called. Red bowl arriving now. Will it get a rest? It just gets a little bit of rest, but slips past. And marker indicator is Mort Young today, and he'll give us an indication very soon, I'm sure. And I think he'll be saying it's still 1 New Zealand.
Yes, still the one shot to Andrew Todd, the initial bowl that was put up, the very first bowl of the game.
Richard Gervin also domiciled in Australia, but playing for New Zealand. Tall player. I remember him many years ago playing for the Okahuk Bay Club in Auckland. And he arrives and gets a rest too, and that will be shot herself from Richard Gervin. There's the purple bowl.
It's very important for this New Zealand team that they get a solid foundation laid by the lead in the two, Andrew Todd and Richard Girvin. They need to be on top of their game for Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer to be able to produce their shot play, their magnificent shot play that they're so renowned for.
Interest, of course, in section play that Australia beat New Zealand by 20-10, and in fact Australia went through section play unbeaten, so they are on top of their game. You see there that I can see now that Mort Young has just indicated to us that it is 2 shots to New Zealand. He's indicating with black lollipops. Great innovation in the game of bowls is that the marker shows us who has got the shots, and it's 2 at the moment to New Zealand. First bowl now from Russell Meyer. Of course, we saw a lot of him in the pairs with Gary Lawson when they won the gold medal. He's working down the backhand side. This is the same place that Andrew Todd was working down as well. He's left that a little bit short.
Yes, well, that's your first short bowl on the opening end. All previous 8 bowls have gone past the jack, and we've recognised the importance of that in the past of the games that have been played. There's generally a lot of movement of the jack and the competition play at this level, and certainly bowls behind the jack are of great importance.
So the bowl now from the number 3 for Australia. This is Nathan Rice, tall player. Yellow bowl you'll see coming to the screen now, and it is just a little bit short. Pretty good first up bowl though. Gary Lawson says to Russell Meyer, change your hand, go down the forehand side now. So Russell Meyer, you see him on camera. He's the number 3.
He's forced to change his hand because of the previous bowl played by Nathan Rice, just blocking the draw slightly for Russell Meyer as he switches to his forehand. Heavy, drifting past the jack, good metre and a half. As Nathan Rice delivers his second bowl and will follow it up to the head. The skips will change over. In the meantime, chasing the bowl looks to be pretty much on target. He's either got a chance of promoting his own bowl or slipping past it, which he slips past it and through the gap.
So now it's the turn of the skips. Gary Lawson, and then we'll see Mark Casey, and we can, at the moment it's at New Zealand, as you just, that's Mort Young, he's the indicator. You can see those lollipops there. He's just indicated 2 to New Zealand. Green side we have Ian Schuback. Shu, he's commonly known amongst Australian bowls, and Ian Schuback, conditions ideal for the game. Be with us shortly. He's just moving to his position. And this is the bowl in the first one from Gary Lawson with the pink bowl. Arriving now, just drifts past.
Yes, excellent weight from Gary Lawson. There's opportunities for him. Any movement of the jack is in his favour. He's presently holding 2 shots. He doesn't want to disturb the head too greatly, but wishes to tighten it up a little bit as Mark Casey delivers his first bowl on the forehand, studies it as it drifts towards the head. I think it's going wide.
Looking at greenside conditions is Ian Schuback. Conditions ideal, no wind, and it's running pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely, Stu. It's about 18.5 seconds. The greenkeeper, Kenny Preble, told me before this final. Probably will get a little bit quicker as the shade goes away, but only 2 bowls short of the jack. That's indicative. Fastest green of the probably tournament, Stu.
And no wind too. That's good for Canterbury early on in the morning. Gary Lawson with his second pink bowl. His first, the weight was good. It was just his grass. Starting to arrive now, and I think it's pretty well on target too for Gary Lawson and his pink bowl. Drifting in. Look at the finish on this bowl. That's good enough for another shot. I think it's jack level.
Yes, very good bowl from Gary Lawson. Quickly onto the mat as Mark Casey doesn't take any time. He knows what he's got to play. He's 3 down. He's looking to save the situation for Australia in the opening end.
Looks to be wide to me. Turns his back on it. So let's wait and see how many they take out here on the first end in the battle for the gold here at Burnside in the 4s. Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer, of course, have picked up gold medal in the pairs. Now the contest against Australia in the fours. Looks like three. Gee, a few bowls are coming out of that head.
Yes,
Like, could be four.
Definitely the 3 shots, and they will now measure to the yellow bowl of Australia, immediately past the jack, and then come around to the Andrew Todd bowl on the right-hand side. Definitely looks the yellow bowl in the picture, but the measure will tell us the situation, and it's definitely the yellow bowl, so it's 3 to New Zealand.
Well, I think it's just the 3, and it is. Good start to New Zealand. They pick up on 3 on the first, and New Zealand leading Australia by 3-0 after the first of 18 ends, and they're playing for gold. New Zealand has given away the jack and said, you take the jack, you determine the distance from mat to jack, and Australia's gone pretty long, ditch to ditch, they call it in bowls terms, and quickly into his work. Off the front of the Australian 4 is Bill Cannells, and he's played it pretty well. Gosh, this is running out this bowl this morning at Burnside. It's quick.
Certainly so. We can see that bowl travelling towards the jack on screen and look to be pulling up early, and it's just finished, well, only centimetres short of the level of the jack as Andrew Todd delivers his first bowl, coming down on his forehand, which is the same side of the green that he opened on the first end. Andrew Todd.
Oh, very good start. You heard from Gary Lawson, it is from Andrew Todd. What interest with these bowls too. We've got speckled bowls here. They're like duck eggs.
Yes, both the opening bowls, or both the lead bowls, are speckled bowls. We just see it in Bill Cannell's hand there. The green bowl, got a yellow speckle through it.
Another big chance here for Bill Cannells from Australia. It's right on target. Right on target from Bill Cannells, and it's behind the jack as well. What a great bowl. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Cannells from Australia's final game wearing the yellow and green. He retires after this tournament. So he's had a great innings, Bill Cannells, and this is his final innings we'll see here at Burnside today, and 2 good opening bowls too. Just perhaps swinging away short. The 2 brown bowls you see there on top of the picture, and there's the 2 green, the chop bowls next to the jack.
Richard Gervin on the mat delivering his first bowl on the second end. Gary Lawson asking him to make sure that he is through the head, wanting him to play through the jack. Looks to be pretty well weighted as he get a result off the front bowls. He doesn't, he finds the gap. Certainly won't want to lose his bowl, and it does. It drifts towards the jack. It's not really his intention to lose his bowl off the green. Desired weight to be playing just through the jack or the shot bowl. Ensure that his bowl stays on the green. If he misses, can be useful for afters.
Turley always looks narrow. That'll swing across the head. Red bowl there, you see at the bottom of the picture. You see the shot bowl, that's the green bowl next to the yellow jack. And probably another one too, just the left might be the second. So if you're watching bowls for the first time, of course, the purposes of the game is to get as many bowls closer to that jack than your opposition. They count for shots.
Richard Gervin wide with his last bowl, bringing in another shot. We see the 2 green speckled bowls of Bill Cannells. sitting adjacent to the jack. New Zealand won't be that unhappy that that bowl came in there. It gives them an opportunity to play with some more weight, builds the target area for them. They were possibly 2 down as it was, and it makes the 2 shots a lot closer than what they previously were.
Are the speckled bowls just in Australia at the moment, or have they also arrived in the New Zealand as well?
There certainly has been some speckled bowls arrive in New Zealand. Some of the manufacturers have brought them out to New Zealand, and I know there's a lot of players keen and enthusiastic to play with them. There's just something a little bit different. We've seen, of course, the huge introduction of coloured bowls, and very rarely do you see the black traditional bowl that we played with for a huge number of years in the past on the green these days.
So there we are, designer bowls here at Burnside, the Speckle, and that's the new development in bowls hardware at the World Bowls, and of course colour clothing. It's just a colourful experience now to not only play the game of bowls but watch the game of bowls.
Mid-rink conference between Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer to determine as to what shot would be played. Just a little bit of a worry that New Zealand has only got the 2 bowls of Andrew Todd close to the jack, but I'm sure that the target area is very inviting for New Zealand. Russell Meyer, I think, will play with some weight to look at trying to get a catch in on the shot bowls. Just if he can control that weight to get the desired result is the key ingredient.
So Russell Meyer on the charge, running towards the shot bowls. He's got a chance, and he gets it in the jack, and he goes in the ditch, and that's live his bowl. Superb running shot from Russell Meyer.
Oh, great bowl from Russell Meyer. Got the target area, and as I said earlier, the New Zealand weren't unhappy when that second Australian bowl came in and sat adjacent to the shot bowl, because it gave the opportunity for Meyer. As we can see there, the jack is in the ditch, and the bowl of Russell Meyer is a live bowl because it did touch the jack in the course of play. So it remains in play and is possibly the shot in the ditch, as we see the yellow Australian bowl travelling very quickly towards the end of the rink. You see the Australian bowl on the green, the yellow bowl, and the red bowl of Russell Meyer in the ditch. It certainly looks to be the shot bowl.
So Russell Meyer with an aggressive shot with his first. Now he's on the draw. Hard to adapt from the running shot to the draw, but not by the best players in the world like Russell Meyer is. Although he's dropped that one a little bit short. It's not going to be easy to stop the bowl from going into the ditch, because it's 18 plus seconds, so it's a hard task.
It's a very precise shot for either player on this occasion. They need to draw within, well, half a metre of the ditch, and we see the speckled bowl of Casey travelling there now. Looks to be pretty much on target. It's a very, very good bowl from Casey.
Well, that is how you do it. What a superb bowl from the Australian skip, Mark Casey. Stops it just short of the ditch and has the shot. That is a very good lawn bowl in hard conditions at 18 seconds. That's the player that played it, Mark Casey of Australia. Superb bowl.
Yes, a great bowl, and has finished up as shot. Excellent bowl from Mark Casey.
So the challenge now for Gary Lawson. He's charging for that shot bowl, looking for the big result, and it's everything else, and just gives a bit of a wobble to the green bowl on the bottom of your picture. You see it there, got a wobble on it, but didn't tip it into the ditch.
Yes, off target Gary Lawson had the opportunity of taking out the yellow and the green bowl that we saw sitting there. Got the edge of a front bowl, did get onto the green shot bowl, only moved it a little bit closer to the ditch. It's still 1 shot to Australia.
Can he do it again? Mark Casey of Australia has 1, looking to make it 2. Will it stay on the island, or will it go in the ditch? Into the ditch it goes. So Lawson, chance to get both, and he'll be charging. He's just looking at the situation, talking to Russell Meyer. I think he's going to charge. He's got a chance of getting both bowls. See there, the yellow and the green bowl right next to the ditch. Then you've got the red bowl in the ditch. That's the shot itself. Take out 2, and he might have more.
No, I think he may only just be the 1 shot that he would get, even if he removed both bowls. The objective, of course, is to look at trying to remove the shot bowl, but Lawson's elected in this occasion to go back to the draw situation. It does surprise me.
That's in the ditch from Gary Lawson, and it will be falling now. Into the ditch it goes, and it'll be just the one to Australia. Just the one to Australia. It's not. New Zealand could
No,
get
well,
the shot.
I think to be quite honest, with the movement of that bowl, it ended up the one to New Zealand, actually, because when Gary Lawson had that run, he caught the edge of the Australian bowl, moved a little bit sideways. It still looked as though it was staying as the shot, but ultimately it ended up the New Zealand bowl in the ditch as the shot. So that was an unusual result.
And that was the decision why he drew. So it's New Zealand picks up a single on the second. That was unexpected, and it's New Zealand that leads by 4-0. Green side is Ian Schuback. Well, Shu, a couple of ends gone. 4-0 New Zealand. Australia playing pretty well, but it's just been some good shot play, especially from Russell Meyer on that last end.
Well, it's a great opening goal from Billy Cornells, but Gary Lawson, Stu, that last shot, just flicked the Aussie bowl, shot bowl, far enough out of the count. So that was a good result for New Zealand, now leading 4-0.
Bill Cornells has been very good off the front. I thought this is his last game for Australia, and he's proving to be such a thorn in New Zealand's side. Look at that, right on the jack. And Shu, he's a fine player. He's played very well for Australia for a number of years.
Yes, in the early part of his career, Stu, he missed the Commonwealth Games and World Championships a couple of times, but a couple of years ago he was selected to lead for Wayne Turley and Mark Casey in the Commonwealth Games triple side, and they won gold. And here he is playing for a world title in his last match for Australia.
And he's played it well again a second. One in front, one behind. You can't do better than that, Terry Scott. That is great draw bowls.
You can certainly see why he won a gold medal in Australia at the last Commonwealth Games. Outstanding lead bowls.
I guess when you look at it, 18 ends now is a bit of a sprint. You know, there's so many games played with 21 ends, 25 ends.
Very, very important to get away to a start in an 18-end game. As Andrew Todd has responded to the two lead bowls from Bill Cornells. We see the speckled brown bowl of Andrew Todd drawing in for shot. What a great bowl from Andrew Todd. Yes, 18 ends, it's important to get off to a good start because you don't get a lot of opportunity for reprieve if you're behind in the latter stages of the game. It can tend to be tightened up considerably. So New Zealand will be happy, 4-0 up after 2 ends.
Well played, mate.
Oh, what about that then from Wayne Turley now? Oh, this is good bowls here. Conditions are ideal, and they're up to the condition, the quality of the bowls. What a superb bowl.
Yes, a very good bowl from Wayne Turley. Unfortunately for him, the jack sprung away from the bowl that he just played and has gone to the first bowl played by Andrew Todd. So New Zealand still holding one shot is Richard Girvin, the left-hander. Big, tall New Zealander on the mat, delivering his left-handed bowl on his backhand. Well, we can hear Gary Lawson, well played Gervo, as he's known. Happy to have bowls behind. Opportunities for any movement of the jack back could be in New Zealand favour.
Turley's on target again. And this time he has better luck, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Oh, two superb bowls by the number 2 for Australia. Well, played it beautifully, got the result and has the shot.
Yes, two very, very good bowls from Wayne Turley, moving the jack with his first one to open it up, and then changing his hand to the backhand and getting his movement on the New Zealand shot bowl. Jack gone back to where Richard Girvin played his previous bowl, so it doesn't need to be too much of a change of weight for Girvin.
Well, he won't be happy with this one. It's going to scream across the front of the head, in fact get wooded as well. So you can see there the shot to the right of the jack, and then Gervin's first bowl that he delivers to the left of the jack. Quality game. I mean, you consider that Australia unbeaten in section play, played 11, won 11, and then they beat Wales 27-9 and beat England 23-14. So unbeaten in the competition. And you can see why, with quality off the front from Bull Canals and Wayne Turley too in that last end. And now this player in action is Nathan Rice. Born in Tasmania, Nathan Rice. He's already had a lot of success too. Commonwealth Games bronze in the pairs. He's Golden Nugget champion too in 2006. So he's all quality. Ian Schuback, when you look at the quality of these two teams, no doubt about it, the best two fours are in action here, playing for gold, and player for player, I just wonder about Australia off the front, where they might be just a fraction stronger in terms of experience especially.
Well, you'd think so, Stu, but not necessarily. Look, Billy Cornell's played the best two lead bowls of the final, and look at Andrew Todd's reply with his second. Magnificent leading from both Cornell's and Andrew Todd. And this green, it is absolutely flying down here, Stu, so it's a class match. You mentioned no wind, and I'm sure all the players would appreciate that.
I guess with Australia, with their preparation here in Christchurch, they've got used to the green conditions now and the speed, and they also have seen plenty of wind.
That's right, Stu. Spent a total of 3 months over here preparing for these World Championships, so the players have done more training in New Zealand than they have back home in Australia.
Very important for Australia to get another bowl in on the head, and just Nathan Rice coming up short, turning over the New Zealand bowl. Opportunity now for Russell Meyer to play some weight for the shot bowl. The red bowl of Wayne Turley, which is the shot. New Zealand having at least 2 seconds to it. Opportunities for Meyer to play through the shot bowl on his backhand. Wants to get some contact with it. Studying it as it travels towards, is he on target? He's looking to be very much into the area. Can he get a result? He did, but the bowl went with the jack. Unfortunately for Meyer, still 1 shot to Australia.
There it is there. You see the purple ball. That's Gervin. That's second shot, but the shot just behind the jack there, just on that tee, that's the Australian shot bowl. So got the movement, but not quite the result.
Just slightly wide from Russell Meyer. He did make contact in the area that he wanted to be. Unfortunately, couldn't remove the Australian shot bowl clean off the head. Moved with the jack. Still 1 shot to Australia.
Mark Casey, the skip for Australia, of course, he's a bowls retailer, so he really has day-by-day action with the bowl, whether he's selling them or we're playing with them. Casey from Australia would love to get a bit of a rest on the Gervin bowl. And he'll just slip past. So Gary Lawson makes his way up towards the mat now. The gold medalist in the pairs, of course. Been a huge weekend for the Cantab.
Gary Lawson, pink bowl on the backhand, delivering. Opportunity for Lawson as to whether he plays with weight right through, actually, and that's what he's elected to do. Looks to be slightly narrow. He doesn't want contact with the front bowls. Unfortunately, he has. So there's an opportunity, a little gap we can see just down the side of the white chalk line. Opportunity for him to get through to the shot bowl. I don't know whether that weight, whether he can get down that line sharp enough. I thought he might have had to play it a bit quicker. He was reasonably sharp, but it's a very narrow channel as Casey delivers his second bowl. Important for Australia that he gets another one close. He's failed to do so. So we can see the red bowl of Turley is still the shot. New Zealand having 3 second shots to that bowl.
So Gary Lawson, he's got a very small port to get through. He'll be on the charge again. It's on his way from Lawson, looking for the gap, but he won't find that, and he might get a big result, and he just pushes up another Australian bowl to go 2 down. So Australia is on the board, I'm sure. It is Australia that will pick up a 2, and after 3 of the 18 ends, New Zealand leads Australia by 4-2 in the race for gold medal here at Burnside at the World Championships.
We see the pink bowl from Gary Lawson, makes contact with the front bowls, and it's the green bowl of Australia that's propelled towards the jack and comes up for a second shot, and Lawson is not happy as he waves his cloth to the ground. Giving shots away is certainly something that Gary Lawson doesn't like doing.
Australia wins the end, and they give the jack to New Zealand, who have gone a lot shorter than they have been playing. The opener from Andrew Todd. Just a little bit short. Now we see Bill Cannell's. It's a great battle up front between Andrew Todd and Bill Cannell's. And showing plenty of interest is the skip for Australia. And he says, come on, Billy. And Billy Boy has played another very good first up bowl. Right on the target, the jack. It's interesting here that Todd is maintaining, going down the left-hand side as it comes into your picture, right-hand side from the mat. He's going down that side. Coming down the other side, the right-hand side in your picture, is Bill Cannell's.
Yes, and a good reply from Andrew Todd. Half a metre past the jack is Bill Cannell's on this backhand. Looking to draw another shot. Getting encouragement from his skip, Mark Casey, and a little clap because he's pretty much on target is Bill Cannell's, and that's 2 opening bowls. Great opening bowls from Bill Cannell's once again. Very, very steady lead.
Oh, Mr. Consistency. Bill Cannell's again is right on the jack, and he has 2 shots. What a great opener again for Australia. That's the platform.
It's certainly what we mentioned earlier. It's important for these leads to and the seconds to lay a foundation. Both thirds and skips for each team are very much shot makers, and if they've got bowls around the head, it's amazing what they can do.
Ian Schuback, we're seeing here on the start of this, the 4th end, the conditions are good. They're getting close.
Yes, Stu, and you mentioned no wind, and I think that's the secret. It's so fast, and Andrew Todd is leading well, but Billy Cornell's in his last game for Australia is going well. Interesting that Andrew Todd, he played lead for myself the last couple of years of my career, and then about 4 or 5 years with Cameron Curtis, the Australian coach at the Hills Bowling Club in Sydney, in the Premier League in Sydney. So we're sort of claiming Toddy as a bit of an Aussie.
Oh, that's why he's so good then. You've taught him all he knows, Shu.
Well, he's a specialist lead, and that's what you need in a game of 4s. It's you mentioned setting the platform, and Billy Cornell's at the moment slightly shading Andrew Todd.
It seems that around the world, Ian Schuback, that a lot of bowlers don't want to be leads. They want to be the star players, and it's hard to get specialist leads that are prepared to stick at that task.
Well, that's right, and yet a good lead always makes a good singles player. Billy Cornell's last year won the New South Wales Open Grand Prix singles. I mean, they're good draw shot players, leads, and you know, it's a shame that a lot of young players play for 1 or 2 years and then they want to start skipping and driving, where it's the draw shots that win you the game, not the driving.
The voice of Ian Schuback. Shu, commonly known, of course, amongst bowl circles, world champion indoor player, a fine player for Australia now, Australia coach along with Cameron Curtis. And they're doing a good job here, because when you look at today and tomorrow, Australia dominate. They're in the singles final tomorrow, in the triples final tomorrow, and here they are in the 4s. So Australia has had a good week at Burnside of the World Championships. Into its work now is Russell Meyer, just on the draw. 1 down. Just superb conditions. This bowl starts to make its way towards the jack. Just Another full in it shot itself. What a superb bowl from Russell Meyer. Conditions are superb and the quality is right up there.
Yes, excellent bowl, Russell Meyer. Australia, we were holding just probably the one shot. Richard Gervin had sneaked past his first bowl to possibly get second shot, but what a great bowl from Russell Meyer, picking up the shot, putting the pressure back on Australia.
You know, some people say that fours isn't a great game to watch, but yes, when you're seeing the quality of draw play and attacking play from these two world champion sides, one will end up world champion itself, of course. Well, you have to say this is just quality, good conditions, great surface, and it's a great game of bowls.
Yes, the yellow bowl of Nathan Rice. You can see it feathered off the front bowl. Australia won't be unhappy with that. It's given them opportunities by moving the front bowl, which was probably just in the eye of the delivery person, and they moved it to the side, which has just opened up the gap to some extent. It's important for New Zealand to get another bowl on the head. The shot bowl is exposed.
Drew one with his first. What will he do with the second? Just is in the area, but it's going to swing across. Could it get a big wick? No, it doesn't.
Well, what actually happened out of that is that he caught the front bowl, then moved on to the purple bowls of Richard Gervin. We can see there one of them moved up towards the jack and has given New Zealand another shot. Hence the reason why Nathan Rice is chasing his bowl here, because he's been given the opportunity to play with weight and attacking bowl into the area. We can see it drifting in, slightly narrow, but oh, he got the rub as well. Well, there's been a lot of movement off those bowls that were played short of the jack, and we can see the yellow bowl now of Nathan Rice has trickled up through for the shot itself.
Oh, it's got chess about it, this game here in front of us. Ian Shoeback's a bit like chess.
Well, you need some luck too. You don't need luck in chess, you need skill. But unlike chess, what a result for Nathan Rice that was, Stu. He was 2 down, got a feather off the short bowls and just snuck around the shot bowl. 2 down to 1 up.
The thing is, you got to be in the area though, don't you, too, Shoe?
Well, that's right. And as Terry just said, you need bowls in the head. New Zealand, and now have got 2 in the head. So Gary Lawson, he'll be playing weight.
Exactly what he is doing. Narrowed the green, playing with weight, playing through the head. I like the line. It just needs to turn quickly now. Oh, goodness gracious, the weight was perfect.
Oh, it was excellent weight from Gary Lawson. He's looking for the split on the yellow and the red bowl. The outside edge of the yellow bowl will push it through the gap between the purple and the jack, and New Zealand have got 2 second shots. Unfortunately, he was a touch wide. Got onto the outside bowl. Be a little bit careful, Gary Lawson, because Australia have now got probably the 3 back bowls, so any movement onto that yellow bowl and then onto the yellow jack going back would certainly not be in New Zealand's favour.
Terry Scott, of course, former New Zealand player and also a finalist in the national fours here at Burnside. A skipper of that team, and Terry, it's a game of precision, it's a game also of strategy.
Oh, we've certainly seen it in these opening 4 ends between Australia and New Zealand here, and I don't think I have seen as good a bowls in an event as we have seen it here today. It's just been simply outstanding. The shot has been changing regularly, and all 8 players are certainly on song this morning.
All the ingredients are here. Very, very high quality players, superb conditions, and unfortunately, I wish there was more people here watching it, but I hope you're enjoying it at home.
Well, the situation has changed now because Gary Lawson, or should I say Mark Casey's last bowl, has probably prevented Gary Lawson playing with the weight that he previously did. It's a case of whether he elects to go a little bit quicker to try and get underneath the bowl that fell short from Casey. We can see it as the second shortest bowl there. Just briefly, we saw it at the second shortest bowl on the green. So Gary Lawson on the mat. A little bit of danger for him. He's got to be very careful.
A little bit more weight. This could be a huge result. Will it be a slice of heaven? Will it be a slice of hell? It is a slice of heaven. Well, it's just a superb bowl. There's no luck there.
Oh, very, very good bowl from Gary Lawson. The angle he had to get the shot bowl out, he was also always going to be removing one of his own bowls. We see the purple bowl of Richard Gervin that remains as shot. The bowl from Gary Lawson, played a little bit quicker than his previous one, coming down inside the chalk line, removing the yellow bowl, and then taking out one of his own bowl, and the purple bowl of Richard Gervin immediately in front of the jack remains as the shot.
Sure, you've seen the bowls all around the world. You can't beat the quality of this game.
Brilliant conversion shots being played by Gary Lawson and Mark Casey. There's a little bit of danger here. Casey would be looking to trail the jack, Stu, but I don't know how he's going to get to it. Australia have 3 back bowls.
So Casey, was left-handed, plays across his body. He's got to come back a long way from there, and that's what he's after. He's going to try and get a bit of the jack now, but goes past that bowl in the running. It'll help. He goes past that, and he gets the jack and slides it back. Wow. And he's down more now. He's down 2. Well, you mentioned, Shu, that it was fraught with danger. In fact, it's 3. When it comes back, we'll see that it's going to be a 3. Is it 3? Yes, it is 3 to New Zealand. It's a slice of hell for Mark Casey. New Zealand leads 7-2 after 4 of the 18 ends as they battle for gold here at Burnside. That was slice of hell.
Yes, certainly was. Ian mentioned that the 3 back bowls that Australia did have, but they were further back than where the jack moved. I think it was difficult for Casey to get the jack back to where he possibly wanted it to. He played with that controlled draw weight, looking to probably just draw the shot. A little bit of movement was okay, but unfortunately for him, went too far. New Zealand picked up 3 shots.
Shu, perhaps the Australian skip should be mic'd up and with you so you can give a bit of advice.
Yeah, well, after the last shot, Stu, it's good that he's not mic'd up because we might have heard a couple of expletives from Mark Casey. Very unfortunate.
New Zealand give away the jack, and Australia go ditch to ditch. They've hit long. Good effort from New Zealand that last end. They brought it shorter, and they scored.
Yes, it was right down to the last 2 bowls before New Zealand got the shot. It was the Gary Lawson bowl, of course, which removed the yellow bowl, the Australian yellow bowl from the head, New Zealand holding 1, and of course the bonus was given to them by Casey, who moved the jack to pick up a 3.
Good battle up front. Paul Connells and Andrew Todd. This time they're not quite on target as they were in the previous end. Chance for Todd here. Plenty of room. Has 1. Could make it 2. And win the battle of the leads on this, the 5th end of 18.
Hello, Joe.
Flying. So now a lot relies on the 2s.
Certainly does. The opening bowls from the lead, a little bit astray on this occasion. However, it is New Zealand that does hold the 1 shot. Andrew Todd bowl, the first bowl from Andrew Todd. So we can see the scoreboard there. After 4 of the 18 end, they're playing the 5th. New Zealand leading by 7-2. Wayne Turley.
Bye, buddy.
Drawing the shot with his first bowl. Gary Lawson telling Richard Gervin that the jack is on the tee, which means that it's on the 2-metre mark. You can see the chalk line at the end of the green. So it's a maximum distance that the end can be played over.
Stand ball, double footers.
You see Turley's playing down the backhand. It'll come from your picture. from the left-hand side. And he's playing that hand because he's got a bowl on the running, an opportunity to promote his own bowl. You'll see it here, coming from the right of the screen. Just starting to come in towards the head now. There's his own bowl, promotes it and gets two. Played it brilliantly.
There's two very good bowls from Wayne Turley. His first bowl was actually the shot, then he drew down exactly the same line, promoted his own bowl, moved it in behind the jack, just making it a little bit harder for the New Zealanders.
Australia now up two. Opportunity for Gervin to wrest that initiative away.
Well, thank you, and it's been very interesting since you've been wearing the news.
Hurry! Hurry, get him out!
Does he get the jack? He does, and he gets the shot too, and he has two. Oh, he's on fire. Gervin has two.
Very, very good bowl from Richard Gervin. He's struggled a little bit for his weight in the previous years, but what an outstanding bowl he played on this occasion. We can see the two purple bowls of Richard Gervin, the one brown bowl of Andrew Todd. It's New Zealand that lies three.
Oh, superb bowl. Dragged the jack back for three. His own bowl plus one of Todd's.
Yes, Gary Lawson studying it intently there, as we can see. Well, definitely three shots to New Zealand. No, maybe just two. Very close.
I think it's three.
Outstanding bowls from two outstanding sides, to be quite honest.
I think it is definitely the three, as Nathan Rice comes off the short bowl. And, oh, wow. Certainly reduced the count. I think it's New Zealand still two. There's two purple bowls for New Zealand. The one there from Richard Gervin with the chalk mark on it, indicating that if that bowl does go into the ditch, it stays alive. So it's still two New Zealand. It was Andrew Todd who had the third shot. It was difficult to see the colours there for a start, but we can pick it up now. The yellow bowl is definitely the third shot with our indicator. Certainly a big help when we can get this situation and determining what the shot is.
Russell Meyer. There's a lot of interest, Shu, with what hand players play. Do they get into a bit of a rhythm down a hand if there's nothing in the running, or do they decide in the practice ends, trial ends?
Usually the trial ends, Stu, but this forehand that Russell's playing seems to be the kinder side. It's a big swooping hand, the backhand. New Zealand were holding 4 before. Now it's 2 and a measure. So still a very good position, and that's a handy bowl as well. But it's a big wide draw on this green. It is so fast, the players have to put it out so wide, and we're seeing quality draw shots being played. I think Nathan Rice might attack with big weight here, Stu. It's 2.5 down.
So the big man, Nathan Rice from Tasmania, is on the drive. Here it comes. It's on its way now. The yellow bowl gets his own bowl, and the jack goes and is out. And also down is Turley. Turley's down, the jack's out, and it smashes against Turley, and that would have hurt.
Oh, yes, what a great drive from Nathan Rice. Well, we can see it again. The bowl propels onto the yellow one. The jack goes up in the air, hits Turley in the mid. Well, decks him. Oh, dear oh me.
Turley's down. I know you're a former ruck rover, Shu. Did you have many falls like that?
Well, usually I got connected on the jaw, but Wayne Turley, he's a showman, Stewie, and I think he's a bit of byplay there. Certainly the jack did ricochet into his midriff, but I think he play acted a little bit on it.
So replay the fifth end.
Turley just giving the knee a bit of a rub there. There might have just been a little bit of feel about that jack hitting him. Yeah, see, waves the leg backwards, gets a bit of exercise back into it.
Of course, Wayne Turley, part of a New Zealand composite side that won the Nationals 4 title with Danny O'Connor, Stephen Beale, Richard Gervin, who's of course in the opposition, and Wayne Turley won it. Well, Turley and Gervin are here. Danny O'Connor's watching, and Stephen Beale is in the car park, parking the cars.
Yes, well, he's really progressed, hasn't he?
Stephen Beale, one of the comedians and class act in terms of coaching now, based in the Bay of Plenty. But there we are. Turley's here, Gervin's here, Danny O'Connor's watching, and Stephen Beale parking the cars in the car park. But I can tell you, he's still playing good bowls. And back to the bowls.
playing the back end. He's played it pretty well. He's running quickly. They're only just letting the balls go, watching the drift. He's taking very good.
Play going in the same direction as it previously did. If either Skip directs that they can replay the end in the same direction, it must be replayed in that direction.
It's interesting we spoke about this hand they're playing now as it comes in on the left-hand side of that centre line. It's the hand that Ellen Faulkner and Val Smith played constantly in the women's singles final. Of course, Val Smith won gold then for New Zealand, but again, beautiful draw bowl from Cornells, and it seems to be having the same effect today, that hand, a lot of draw.
Yes, certainly so, and Ian Schuback mentioned it previously, the bigger draw that has been taken on the other hand, and that is the one that Andrew Todd has persisted in playing. He's gone very, very well on it. We have not seen a lot of bowls being played in the previous 4 finals on this particular hand. As Andrew Todd's bowl comes in, will he get the shot? No, just drifting past. Going very, very well on that hand, Andrew Todd. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just taking a little bit bigger sweep than what the preferred hand is taking.
Turley recovered from being felled by the jack and is on line. Will it get the rest? It gets the rest, but the wrong side. That pushes through the bowl, and now it's Australia that will have shot.
Yes, I think it was always the shot. The green bowl was the shot of Bill Cornells. So we can see the green speckled bowl.
Well, he played brilliantly on the last end, Richard Gervin. What can he deliver the left-hander on this, the replay of the 5th end? 18-end clash, Australia, New Zealand in the 4s, playing for gold. Over the year, they've played 4 games and it's been tied up at 2 games each. The last time they met in section play was Australia, that won by 20-10. But windy that day, I think, though.
Certainly was. Been a lot of wind throughout the tournament, made conditions extremely difficult. We've got perfect conditions here for this final today.
Wayne Turley gets a little bit of touch on the yellow and draws another shot. Quality off the front, Turley. Good Australian support here too.
Richard Gervin just drifting underneath the jack, had ideal weight for some alterations be done to the head. It's currently Australia that has 2 shots.
Here's the New Zealanders, and Gary Lawson's giving those fingernails another going over.
Well, I suppose he has had a week to grow some back after the Peers final last week. As we can see the situation there with Australia definitely holding the 2 shots. The red and the green bowl of Australia are both counters. The 3rd shot being the brown bowl of Andrew Todd immediately behind those shotter bowls.
These greens running around 18 got to be pretty wide. Even these narrow bowls that most of these top players use, they're still coming in from quite a distance.
Far off, buddy.
Look
Come
at
on.
this yellow ball coming back now on the draw in towards the area, and it'll fall into.
Good.
Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer having a mid-green conference once again, discussing their options. What will we be playing? These opportunities for New Zealand, the 3 bowls circled around the jack. Let's play with a little bit of weight, get some catches in there. There's plenty of opportunities.
Russell Meyer has a huge opportunity here. Precision on the draw is Meyer. Got plenty of opportunities as he arrives. He's got to be in the area looking for a bowl. Just rest on a bowl. Jack, movement of the jack would help him. Starts to come back now. How will he rub? And falls in, does he? He does.
Yes, very good bowl from Russell Meyer. As I mentioned previously, there was opportunities for him to play with some weight. It may not be the shot. It may be still the one shot to Australia. It's very close. However, Russell Meyer has reduced the count. The yellow bowl of Australia could still well be the shot. Very good bowl from Russell Meyer. And a very good end once again from all 8 players participating.
Wrong side, I think.
Good night. Very good.
Change. And cross it out. Indicator. Mort Young. And he's not indicating too much. Gary Lawson says, come and have a look, Russell.
Yes, well, we can see the indicator there. It is possibly even the red bowl of Turley with the chalk mark on it. We see the wee white chalk mark on it there. I think that would still be the shot, the red bowl of Turley. Both the bowls cutting the line, but I'm pretty sure indications show us that it would be the red bowl of Wayne Turley that would be the shot bowl. As we can see Gary Lawson waving his arms into the head there, indicating to Russell Meyer, I want you to play similar to last time. Look at turning your own bowl over. If you miss, you're getting a rest in on the bowls behind. Opportunities for Russell Meyer to get the shot for New Zealand.
Just a similar sort of bowl he played last time, arriving in the group of bowls. Movement of the jack will be interesting, just if he gets the jack, just where it moves to. It's just a heavy target. He's interested, Lawson's interested. As you can see there, Gervin's showing a bit of interest. And he gets the shot. Plenty of opportunities on that forehand side, and he played it.
Oh, he's very good bowl, Russell Meyer. Once again, he was in the area. He was slightly wider than his previous bowl, but gets onto his shot, what was the second shot, and turns it over. We can see it sitting immediately behind the jack, tucked in there, the red bowl of Russell Meyer.
He's playing down this other side, the left-hander. It's his forehand.
Well, opportunities for Casey. Looks to be narrow. Well, really, to be quite honest, that's a disappointing bowl from Casey. It was very, very short. That's about as disappointing as a couple of those racehorses we had at Addington last night, really, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a great night at Addington. Bowlers' night, of course, at Addington. A lot of the international players were there at Addington. And Greg O'Connor, of course, as usual, excellence in organising the event. Photo finish didn't help in the second to last race, but however, the sun rose this morning. And there we are, there's a quick look. You can see clearly the shot.
Lawson will look to be drawing on his forehand. Plenty of rests for Gary Lawson. He will look at drawing in, sitting on the yellow bowls that we can see him behind. There's opportunities there for him to sit and drop off those for another shot. Doesn't want any movement of jack or shot bowl, so he will make sure that he's wide enough, Gary Lawson. Chances if he can come off.
Yeah, good, buddy.
Oh, well, pretty good effort from Gary Lawson. It was very, very well controlled weight. Mark Casey, you want to be an improvement on his previous bowl. Got opportunities, movement of the jack, Mark Casey.
He's in the area. He's definitely in the area. And he arrives and... Still the one to New Zealand. Does Gary Lawson at Burnside, Christchurch, New Zealand, does he want the bonus? Has one.
Well, he's going to have to play a very, very good bowl to get the bonus. He's presently got the one shot, surrounded by Australian bowls. Gary Lawson, as he arrives back at the mat. The last bowl of the fifth end, almost 1/3 of the way through the competition. One more end, it'd be 1/3 way through. 18 ends to be played. Gary Lawson will be on his point. Had very good weight with his last bowl. Doesn't need to change too much.
Lawson on the dead draw. Does he want the bonus here at Burnside? A little bit timid from Gary Lawson. Can understand why, though. They picked up a single New Zealand and they lead by 8-2 after 5 of the 18 ends as they play for gold here at the World Bowls. Great action at the bowls at Burnside, the gold medal match, New Zealand and Australia, and we've seen all the shots, the draw, the drive and the high five.
Yeah, certainly so. It's been some outstanding bowls in the opening 5 ends of this, the gold medal game, the World Championship fours, and certainly both New Zealand and Australia will be wanting to get a win to improve the record that we've seen in the past in this event. It's been very, very lean pickings for both of these countries in World Bowls gold medal fours games. It's only New Zealand who have won it previously. Back in 1966, the very first year of the World Bowls, it was the great Norm Lash, Ron Buck and Gordon Jolly and Bill O'Neill that won this event, and that has been the only time that has been Australia or New Zealand that has won the gold in the fours. So opportunities for both of these teams to certainly get themselves onto the record books and name engraved on the trophy.
Looking back on those first 5 ends, Ian Shoeback, it's been a great battle, good up front, pretty even all round, and perhaps just Russell Meyer, I think, is showing some of his excellence as well.
Yes, Stu, and I think Russell Meyer and Gary Lawson on the back end are retrieving for New Zealand, making the conversion shots. Nathan Rice, Mark Casey have been in the area, but when they've moved the jack, it's gone the other way to what they were hoping for. But Bill Cornell's he's only got 13 ends left of his career, so 26 bowls, barring dead ends from Bill Cornell's, and he'd be hoping to make every one of them count, Stu.
Better there.
Yeah, when you look at the teams, the balance of the teams, you look at Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer, huge experience. Of course, they won the gold in the pairs, and they're showing their class today, aren't they? Yeah,
well, the 4 New Zealanders all playing for Sydney-based clubs, so they're getting the tough competition throughout the year, and you know, they know the way the Aussies play, and this green today, it is so fast, and it's any bowl within half a metre of the jack, it really takes some beating.
So there's the bowls from the leads, Bill Cornell's and Andrew Todd. No clear advantage to either of the leads. Now it's the battle of the twos, Wayne Turley and Richard Girvan. Turley's off first. It's the red bowl of Turley arriving, could just get a slide, but just gets wooded on the Andrew Todd bowl. Andrew Todd now definitely has 1, could have 2. It's in the running, wasn't it, on that side?
Yes, it was. There was opportunities for him to get underneath. It was just probably a half a bowl out on his green line. Wayne Turley.
Purple bowl coming down in towards the pitcher, looking for the yellow canary. Looks to be on target too from Richard Girvan. And it is. That's just in front of the jack.
A very good bowl, Richard Girvan, and very much a confidence player, Richard, and bowls like that will certainly help him throughout this game. Very hard on himself, very disappointed when he plays a loose bowl, Richard Girvan, and it's important that he gets his bowls handy, as we see the Wayne Turley, the second bowl of Wayne Turley drifting towards the jack. He's pretty much on target to pick it up. No, he just slips past. Gave the bowl an opportunity. 2 shots presently to New Zealand.
You see at the bottom of the screen, the green bowl and red bowl. Well, what Gary Lawson said to Richard Girvan this time, don't worry about the jack. I just want your back covering the bowls behind the jack in a catching position. So if the jack comes back, you're there. Don't want you in front, want you at the back.
Well, and isn't that a luxury? I mean, it shows that the initial bowls from the leading two are very effective when he can ask his two to play his second bowl in a position. Richard Gervin, well, he's past the jack. It's not too bad. His weight was very good. He actually came back and fell onto the brown bowl of Andrew Todd, possibly making it a 3-shot to New Zealand. A little bit of danger behind, but definitely 3 to New Zealand.
Lawson's happy, the little leprechaun. Now we see the bowl from Nathan Rice, tall player, over 6 feet, yellow bowl, quality young player.
Right up.
Can he retrieve the situation here? It's in the area, there's no doubting that. It's right on target. The yellow bowl and the yellow canary are so close together.
Second, mate.
That'd be second shot, so he's reduced the count.
Wide.
It's a very good bowl from Nathan Rice, reducing the count. It was important for Australia, as we can see it drifting in towards the jack. Got very close to picking up the jack, slipped underneath. Oh, that was close. But the bowl just drifting through. It cuts the count back to 1. Australia needed that bowl. They were 3 down. Weren't worried about movement back to the back bowls. They needed something on the head. They need to build it. Give themselves some opportunities as Russell Meyer delivers on the forehand. Once again, we'll also be looking to cover the bowls that are past the jack. Russell Meyer, possibly a bit heavy, but he may well catch on to one of the Australian bowls, and he does. Oh, that's a perfect position for Russell Meyer. A little bit lucky. He was heavy for the shot that he was wanting to play. Caught onto the Australian bowl of Wayne Turley. Finished in a very, very good home.
It was a quick game, the fours too. They're quickly into their work on the mat, and it's on its way. Nathan Rice, superb first bowl. How about his second? Will he get a slide? No, he doesn't. He gets Andrew Todd's bowl straight on.
Going down to that green one, mate. You get the yellows good.
So Russell Meyer's last. He's going down the left-hand side of the screen. He's looking at just reaching the Nathan Rice yellow bowl. If he reaches that, he'll have a shot. Cutter's green. He's going to slide across the face, but he might end up through the back door. No, he doesn't, but he pushes through the yellow bowl. Hasn't changed too much, and
This does make connection with one of the Australian bowls, which reduces their numbers on the head at the present time. They've got the second shot. New Zealand would have definitely third and fourth shot. You can see the purple bowl of Richard Gervin, which is the shot. The second shot is the one that is jack level as the yellow bowl. Mark Casey stalks his bowl on the backhand. Looks to be narrow and short of weight.
Ian Schuback, I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it? The conversion at this stage of the end.
Well, that's right. Mark's dropped a couple short when he's been down on the head, and there's an old saying, your luck starts when you reach the head, and Mark, he was overweight in the first couple of ends of the match, Stu, and now he's just underweight. So I don't think the green has slowed, although there's plenty of cloud cover at the moment. I think just Mark has just lost his touch.
1 to New Zealand on the 6th end. They lead by 8 to 2. 18-end contest for gold. Lawson's first of 2. Be interesting if it misses the green bowl that's in the running. It clobbers onto it. So quickly into his work again as Mark Casey, the left-hander, he's just quickly onto the mat again and delivered a little bit more weight this time.
Yes, definitely playing with more weight to give himself opportunity for contact onto the jack. He's stalking it as we see the bowl drifting towards the jack. He's pretty much on target as Mark Casey's got movement of the jack. Well, there we go. The cover bowl from Russell Meyer that was heavy before and rested on the Wayne Turley bowl has ended up the shot.
Yeah, a bit unlucky, isn't he? Here it comes from Mark Casey. Always looked for the canary, gets the canary. Now look at the connection. There's the canary, and it goes next to Russell Meyer's red bowl. Well, they haven't had a lot of luck in some of those opportunities to convert shots, and it was no different then. And here is bonus time for Gary Lawson. I don't think there's too many opportunities for the bonus. It'd be a superb draw bowl just sitting next to the Russell Meyer bowl or the jack. Has one. Does he want the bonus, or is he going to be timid? I think he might be timid, and he is. And New Zealand pick up a single after 6 of the 18 ends. It's New Zealand leading Australia by 9-2.
Well, there's time for a conference for the Australians. Bill Cornell's the lead, marches up with the mat. They've had a little bit of a discussion, I imagine, about what length to play here. They've got to turn this game around, trailing by 7 shots, a third of the way through. Much to do from the Australian point of view, Terry.
Certainly so, and New Zealand will be extremely happy to get off to the start that they have, leading by 9-2, scoring on 5 of the first 6 end played. And that's the reason why Australia had to have a mid-rank conference to discuss as to whether they were going to change the length of the jack or the mat, or continue along a very similar vein. They have thrown the jack a little bit shorter than what it was the previous end. We talked about the previous end going in this direction where the jack was sitting on the tee, which is indicating the 2-metre mark. Well, it is now 2 or 3 metres shorter than that as Bill Cornells delivers his first bowl on the forehand.
Certainly when you're trailing in a gold medal match by half a dozen shots or more, you've got to at least ask some questions of the opposition, try and test them out on a different length. But at the moment, the New Zealand 4 got all the answers. I wouldn't say the Australians have played badly, but sometimes it's not how many good shots you play, but when. And the key shots have come out of the hands of Russell Meyer and Gervin and Todd and Lawson.
As Andrew Todd continues to be one of the few players playing down the backhand side of the green, going in this direction, and has adapted and picked the pace of the green up very, very quickly. A little bit wider hand, as we mentioned earlier. But Andrew Todd going very, very well. And now we see Bill Cornells changing his hand. I don't know if it was really necessary. He was just a little bit heavy with his first bowl. Looking at chances of perhaps movement of the jack, but I wonder as to the reason really for him changing his hand on that occasion. With the green that is taking, he was ample opportunities for him to continue down his forehand that he previously played.
Well, Ian Schuback's watching on, a little concerned about the scoreline. I'm sure, Shuey, change of tactics here with the length.
Not so much this end, Steve, but I was just talking to Cameron Curtis, the Australian coach, and another couple of ends of this tactic, and I think we might get Billy Cornells on the other side. Bill Cornells is out leading Andrew Todd, but the scores are not going with Australia. So one of the best tactics to employ early on is to get the lead on the other side of the rink. So if Australia fails to score in the next couple of ends, we might see Billy Cornells switch to the other side.
Push. Well played, mate.
Mark Casey, actually a fantastic skip. He just really hasn't had the opportunities to show us his sort of full array of shots. He's struggling a little, Case.
Yes, well, earlier on he was a bit unlucky, Steve. He's one down trying to trail the jack for 3, but he sliced the jack down the line for 3 down, so he gave an extra couple of shots away. So really, it's you need that ounce of luck, especially in a big final like this, and at the moment it's certainly not going with Mark Casey.
That's how the head looks at the moment. As Richard Gervin prepares. Remarkably still, isn't it, really, Terry, today?
Absolutely beautiful conditions for this final. Generally, you do find in Christchurch that the mornings are the better time to play bowls. Invariably at around about the 11:30, quarter to 12, the nor'wester does come up, but there's no indications of that at this stage today. As I look out the back of our commentary box, I certainly can't see the nor'west arch, as they call it, developing, and hopefully conditions will remain perfect throughout the day. It's just absolutely beautiful.
You better help us out there, Terry. What's the nor'west arch for our Australian viewers?
You certainly see the sky. It does change, and there's a big arch that does come across and from the nor'west, and it's an indication that the winds will come in. It's a blue part of the sky which starts to appear amongst the cloud, and it's an indication of the change of conditions. And we've seen it in the past where it has happened, and the winds do come up, as I said, in the late morning and make bowling conditions extremely difficult.
Shuey, how good's this? We've come all the way to New Zealand. We've got a meteorology lesson. It's fantastic.
Well, we've got the Fremantle Doctor in Perth, Steve, and now we've got the arch that Terry describes. I can't see any over behind the commentary box, Terry, so I think we'll be pretty good at the moment, although I think the Australians would need a bit of a breeze at the moment. It's amazing how it does change the momentum in a match once the wind springs up.
Yes, it certainly can have an impact on the bowls, and it's not something that the bowlers really like, as the windy conditions. It can make it extremely difficult for them.
Yes, once you're in front, you don't want anything to change. You wouldn't change what you're wearing. Don't want anyone to change where they're sitting. Don't want the breeze to arrive. Just keep everything as is. That's the case for New Zealand with a 7-shot lead.
As Richard Gervin walks towards where his bowls have finished. Good meter past the jack. A little bit unhappy with the second bowl. Gary Lawson was pleased to get one bowl there for a start, but Gervin, he wanted him back onto the draw with his second bowl. Australia presently holding at least 2 shots. The 2 bowls from Wayne Turley. The 2 red bowls are both counters.
And Shuey, we've made mention of how well these teams know each other, with Kiwis playing regularly in Australia and vice versa. No secrets amongst these 8 players.
No, there's not. They know one another's game so well. And Richard Gervin, Steve, he's a clubmate of Wayne Turley at Tarrant Point in Sydney. So they play together. And as Terry said earlier on, they won the New Zealand Fours title about 3 years ago, playing together. So, yeah, there's certainly no love lost, though, when they're competing against one another.
Russell Meyer now. It was interesting watching the exchanges between the players before the match started. They're, very friendly. How you going? Let's get out there, have a good match. But as soon as it got close to the roll-up, it was down to business. It's very focused on what's such an important match for all the players. Good spirit on the rink, but fierce competition.
Oh, certainly so, and the gold medal at stake here for these 2 teams. That it's the serious end of the tournament. The serious business has started, and this is where all players show their competitive edge. As you say, they're very, very friendly, both teams, and as Ian mentioned, they know each other well. Is the yellow bowl of Nathan Rice. Drifts in towards the jack. Well, sits beside the Turley bowls. Opportunities for New Zealand to get catches on those bowls. It's a matter of how much weight they will play to them. And I think Harry Lawson has indicated that there's opportunities here. Russell, let's start getting rid of some of these shots.
Australia holding 3, you think, there?
Yeah, definitely holding those 3 shots. They're all counters. As Russell Myers on his forehand, he will be driving at the 3 bowls. Looks to be pretty much on target. Can he get a result? Any connection with them will get movement. He has. He's actually removed the whole 4 bowls of Australia completely off the head. And there's the one brown bowl that we can see of Andrew Todd sitting short of the jack, which is the shot.
3 down to 1 up. That's an incredible conversion from Russell Meyer. That's kind of sideways plant. He got the leftmost bowl as we look at it from our end, and out they all went. There's a tremendous result for New Zealand.
Yes, when it's running for you, that's exactly what happens. That you know, his bowl was going away from the shot bowls. He actually caught completely on the outside one. It moved the whole 3 shot bowls and then took out the 5th shot, which was on the other side of the green.
So Mark Casey has taken a very wide line here. Too wide. He's just can't make it happen at the moment, Case, the Australian skip. But here is this brilliant drive. 1, 2, 3, out they go, and 4. Well, I'd like to play that a few more times and not quite get as good a result.
Gary Lawson delivers on the forehand, holding 1 shot at the moment. Disappointing bowl from Mark Casey, his first one. Had opportunities to draw the shot. The pressure was on him after the New Zealanders removed the shot bowls of Australia. Gary Lawson drawing looks to be heavy, and is.
Well, Mark Casey, Australia trailing by 7 down here. This is just about a must-get shot here. The pressure building on the Australian 4, who went through sectional play so convincingly. No. Can't do it.
Disappointment for Casey. Opportunities are just interesting there. He's very, very quick on the mat, Mark Casey. Gary Lawson's bowl had just finished and Mark Casey was delivering his very quickly onto the mat.
That's his style, Terry. He doesn't muck around.
No, he's got his mind made up quickly as to what he's going to play. Gary Lawson in the situation now where he wants to have a look as to where he can draw another shot.
Mark Casey passes him by. He's already played his last, so figures, well, I might as well come back up to this end and get ready to receive the next lot of bowls in the 8th end. It's a look of resignation on the face of Mark Casey at the moment. It's not great body language. And as the Kiwis continue their fine run through the early stages of this match, getting towards the middle stages, really. And the sun peeking through. We're at Burnside. Lawson. Looking for the bonus here. 9-2 up already. Holding on this end. And he could just sneak in for an extra. Oh, beautiful ball from Gary Lawson. And there's 2 more to New Zealand.
Oh, great stuff, Gary Lawson. And they're the ones that count and really starting to put the nail into the coffin for Australia. Gary Lawson, what a great bowl. As we see it drifting in towards the jack, a narrow gap there for him to come in. New Zealand holding 1, and Lawson makes it 2.
A perfect port found by Gary Lawson. 4 consecutive ends. And New Zealand have raced out to an 11-2 lead in the 4s final. Well, it's been a very interesting 4s final. And ideal conditions here. The speckled bowls, the brilliant bowls. And 6 of the 7 ends won by New Zealand. They're in a handsome position. All right, the mat's back. And a shorter jack rolled by Bill Cornell's. New Zealand opting to retain last bowl.
Yes, and we can certainly see the reason why when Gary Lawson on the previous end drew another shot for New Zealand with the last bowl and nothing more for Casey to play. New Zealand leading by 11-2 after 7 ends. Discussion amongst the Australian team. What length will we play as Bill Cornell's changes his hand, as Ian Schuback said previously.
Andrew Todd. The skip's game, I guess, Terry, is as much about confidence as anything else. When your teammates are giving you a good ride, then it comes out of the hand a little easier. The skips wear a lot of the pressure in fours play.
Oh, they certainly do, and it's an encouragement of their players throughout the head, and ensuring that they can get something handy for the skip to play those shots. We saw it in the previous end, or a couple of times previously, with Russell Meyer having the shot play, particularly in that last end where he removed the Australian shot bowls. The front two for New Zealand were a little bit loose. The pressure went back on New Zealand as Bill Cornels plays his second bowl. Gets a little chalk mark from Mark Casey. What an excellent bowl from Bill Cornels after changing his hand. The first two bowls he has played down that particular side of the green, coming in this direction.
All right, can that perhaps signal in some small way a change of fortunes for the Australians, who, I mean, you wouldn't have said they were necessarily favourites coming into the final. Yes, they were impressive in sectional play, but once you reach a final, even if you're fourth in your section, you just scraped into the quarters, you've given yourself that chance, and anything can happen from there. But they were impressive, but you start with a clean slate in the final, Terry.
Yes, it certainly is. And watching yesterday in the quarterfinals and semi-final games, the Australian team were quite outstanding in their two games that they played against Wales and England, getting convincing wins. There's bowls like this that we saw yesterday that produced those results for Australia. But as you say, when you come out here today into this final, it's all square, 18 ends to be played, and no one's got any advantage over the others because of previous games played.
Gary Lawson giving this weighty consideration, and I might play weight early in the end. I think it doesn't look too pretty. Yep, give it a smack.
Yes, Gary Lawson indicates to Richard Girvan, come down the line. He's referring to the chalk line, which is the centre of the green. As Richard Girvan on his backhand. Just looked to be narrow as he delivered it out of his hand, and it is. We can see it narrower off the chalk line. Misses the target, goes through the ditch, no result.
Outswinger. One for the slips. So they've put them in close early, Australia, but there's a target there. Turley.
Yes, I think Australia have to get them in close. They have to put some pressure on to New Zealand to change things around. And they say good shot, Turles, because he promoted one of his own bowls, but not only did he do that, he actually put a bowl on the centre line, which is covering that drive that Girvan had played on the previous end. Give him some opportunities now perhaps to play on in Girvan's backhand, the left-hander. His backhand just reaching in weight now. Come around the front bowls, we can see there the front red bowl sitting on the centre line.
It's a bit of a blocker there, isn't it? It's handy. I think trailing by 9 shots, it's this really is a must-score end for Australia. Can't give up a double-digit lead to your opposition in a gold medal game. It's just about good night, nurse. Well, that's not going to do the job. Without some luck, finds none. He's kept it on the rink, though.
Yeah, it's important for Girvan to control the weight. If he did miss it, it was going to stay on the rink. There's plenty of room between the jack and the ditch, so he could play with good weight to reach in and not lose his bowl.
Well, they've got plenty to think about here. The Aussie four. They're just trying to second guess, aren't they? What's New Zealand going to play? How many do we go after?
Turn that.
I think New Zealand's really only shot is to do what Girvan was trying to do, is reaching onto the shot bowls. As we can see, Nathan Rice put his foot down as to where they would like to have a bowl position, just to block that gap up. As Australia's definitely holding 2 shots at the present time. Opportunities for him to turn another one up for 3. We can see the green bowl there of Bill Cornels to turn it up, give him 3, or just block the gap, stop New Zealand getting in.
Well, Lurch, as Nathan Rice is familiarly known around the place, a Launceston born. And what's he got for us this time?
Encouragement from his teammates. He looks pretty much on target to turn that bowl. No.
Oh, much better, mate.
Well, still holding, I imagine, just the 2, don't we, Terry? It's
just the 2 at the moment to Australia. Andrew Todd with 3rd shot immediately behind the 2 shot bowls.
Conditions, if anything, probably improving. The clouds starting to break up. Start looking for that arch shortly, do we, Terry? Our commentary box weatherman, Terry Scott. Meyer. Oh, well, that's pushed it a little towards the New Zealand bowl. It certainly it looks like 2 from here. We're at this end.
We got 2, mate.
Yes.
Still 2.
Yes, we got the indication
Draw
there
the shot
from
there,
Mark
mate.
Casey that we got
Can't get a
2,
turn
mate.
out of that.
And it was Russell Meyer who made connection with the green bowl, propelling it into the shot bowls. Jack moving back slightly, but it's still Australia that holds the 2.
Very difficult to get at, that nearest to the New Zealand bowls from Australia's point of view. That risking movement on the jack, which could help New Zealand, and I mentioned it's a must-score end for the Australian 4. They're in deep trouble here. 11-2 down, but holding a couple. Gary Lawson wanting the old finger method to confirm the situation. What are you seeing there for New Zealand now, Terry?
The mid-rig discussion between Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer. New Zealand have only got the 1 bowl in on the head. It's not going to be moved without any other bowl being moved. I think Russell Meyer may well play with weight down on his backhand.
Pretty precise shot needed with that blocker a couple of feet up the centre line. The jack is off the centre. Working back in. This looks very good. Oh, it's huge. What an effort. Russell Meyer has killed the end. What a line he took.
Yes, it was an outstanding bowl from Russell Meyer. Controlled weight as we see it coming down just outside the white line. He gets the jack bare. What a great shot. And applause from his skip, Gary Lawson. He's excited by that. Oh, excellent bowl, Russell Meyer.
And it remains 11-2 as they restart the 8th end.
Same, mate.
Well, spectators here at Burnside enjoying morning sunshine now after an overcast start to the day. There was a promise of some early morning drizzle. I didn't see any. Terry, did you?
Oh, well, I was travelling to the green this morning. The forecasters on the radio was telling me that there was going to be some light rain through Canterbury today, but certainly been no indications at this stage.
Sun absolutely beaming into our commentary box, which if it stays like this will turn into a hot box. Bill Cornell's.
Well played, Billy. Good work, mate. Billy, well played.
Well, Bill Canals has picked up the pace of the change of hand very, very quickly. Moving to the other side of the rink in an effort to block out Andrew Todd. Change the tactics from the Australian players. And Bill Canals is certainly on target with his opening bowl. See it there sitting beside the jack as Andrew Todd's bowl just comes into view past the legs of Gary Lawson, finishing a metre past the jack.
Billy Cornell's playing what we understand could well be his last game for Australia. And he'd love to help turn things around here, make it a winning finale, but that's a lovely second bowl, just parking it behind the jack.
Ian Schubert, you talked earlier on about the possible change of tactics here from Australia with Bill Connells changing his hand. Has certainly been effective so far.
That's right, Terry. It's a good lesson for all our bowling viewers. Bill Cornells was out leading Andrew Todd on the other side of the rink, but just by changing hands, the whole pattern of the heads have changed, and Australia just in the early stages, they just didn't have good heads. Even when they were holding 1 or 2 shots, it made the conversion shots were relatively easy for Russell Meyer and Gary Lawson. But now Billy Cornells, he's pounced on the jack on this wide side of the rink, and just like on that previous end, Australia were holding a good 2 shots. A terrific drive from Russell, but again, Australia holding 2.
Yes, certainly so. 2 great opening bowls from Bill Connells, which allows Wayne Turley to look at playing a position bowl for Australia.
Actually, what are the kinds of things that coaches would say to players in situations like this where down by 9 shots, they've only won 1 of the first 7 ends? How do they keep their spirits up? What do they tell themselves?
Oh, I think it's a little bit of Sorry, Ian.
Sorry, Terry.
Sure, you go. Yeah.
Well, I've got the benefit of sitting alongside the Australian coach Cameron Curtis here in the grandstand, and you know, one of the tactics was to get Billy on the other side of the rink, but also to keep the level of intensity up. You mentioned Steve, Mark Casey's body language, and we see Mark Casey now a little bit more animated, and the Australians really must win 2 of the next 3 ends.
Hold. Hold. Keep your hand, mate. You drive it. You miss him, you get a jack.
Well, Gary Lawson indicating to Richard Gervin to drive. The aggressive shot early in the end, having the second drive at the shots. Gervin, a very good driver, making some contact. He did. He made some contact with the front bowl of Andrew Todd, which propels onto one of the shot bowls of Australia. It's now reduced the count to 1 to Australia.
I have to say, the New Zealand players today, with their running shots, their weighted shots, their drives, they've got good value for them. They've been on the money. This one came a little rough out of the hand, but it settled down onto the perfect line and got a good result. Just opening up the head and clearing one of those Australian bowls away. Nathan Rice, I can't imagine he'll want to keep that vest on for much longer. Be cooking out there. Looking to replace the Australian shot bowl that was removed. Looks like a couple.
It's definitely 2 to Australia. Nathan Rice drawing another shot.
You make these black uniforms out of lightweight material, I hope, don't you, Terry? We often wonder in Australia about the hot days, how your cricket team and your bowlers sort of manage in these black uniforms.
Yes, you'd certainly think that they would be drawing the heat, but the material that is being used is very air-breathing material, and the players are still reasonably comfortable in them. Russell Meyer, you're in very, very good form, Russell Meyer, and he draws second shot for Gary Lawson. Is happy with that bowl.
You've got to love nicknames in Australia and New Zealand, haven't you? You've got Stick playing against Lurch at the moment. 2 men who need a cup of tea and a sandwich.
Yes, there's not much weight in those 2 fellas.
Nathan Rice has a problem that not too many of us can relate to, Terry. He tries to put on weight and he just can't manage it.
Oh, yes, I wish I had that problem myself.
Played so well, mate. You get another one here. Where am I? Am I in front? You're a bowl low.
Russell Meyer, the keeper's getting a bit excited about this one coming in. They got a result. Oh, They certainly have. It falls in for shot. And Russell Meyer, they just continue to do the job here.
Excellent bowl, Russell Meyer. He played an outstanding bowl with his first one, getting second shot for New Zealand, and then used that bowl to get a result with his last, coming in, drawing off the shot bowl and falling over. And we can see there the red bowl of Russell Meyer nestled closely to the jack.
Once again, Australian skip Mark Casey on the mat, figuratively and literally under the pump here. We'll need plenty of luck. Oh, nearly got someone. Maybe he has turned that around. Who has got shot?
Well, nearly got some luck as he has a wry smile to himself. Two bowls moving towards the jack, and the jack moving forward. Gary Lawson having a very close inspection. Russell Meyer now looking.
Who's got the better eyes?
See it coming here onto the purple bowl of Gervin, the yellow bowl. Jack movement trickles over between the two shot bowls. Well, it's anybody's guess.
Absolutely squeezed the jack through those two bowls. One belonging to New Zealand, one to Australia. I mean, that's not a entirely helpful angle in the, you know, we can't be sure who's holding there. Possibly from our angle favours the Australian bowl, but there's so little reaction from both fours.
Yes, just wonder, Gary Lawson, whether he's confident that he's got the shot, because there was opportunities for him to play on the backhand and get results, and the way he's delivered this bowl certainly indicates to me that he thinks he has got the shot and is going for some cover. He gets just a little clap from Russell Meyer. It's another one past. Any movement of the jack back could be helpful, so that to me would indicate that Gary Lawson has got the shot.
Well, the Australians don't really want to move the jack, do they? There's trouble aplenty if it spears away from where it is at the moment. It would go for certainly favour New Zealand.
I think that Mark Casey has made up his mind that he is one down. Looking at the drive, hitting the edge of the red bowl could get him a favourable result. Any movement of the jack back slightly will go against him. The weight that Casey plays the drive, I'm sure if there's any movement of the jack, it will go out of the rink.
The drive it is. Is he accurate? Oh, how did the jack not move? It stayed there. And that's going to be one to New Zealand at the moment, but we've still got one to come from Lawson. Oh, Mark Casey must be wondering, what does he have to do?
Well, it was a near perfect drive from Mark Casey. He hit the bowl, as we can see here in the replay. He's going for the red bowl. He gets it on the edge, but it goes through and takes the bowls out behind. Now, there was a chance of him taking that bowl out clean. As the luck, and it's been all bad for Casey of recent times, it's gone against him. He took his own bowls out now, giving Lawson more room to draw the bonus shot. He's got the one shot presently. We're looking to draw the bonus shot.
It's been a dominant performance from New Zealand. Any luck to be had has gone their way, but let's give full credit to their conversion shots and their steadiness under pressure. And Lawson looking for the extra. Teammates starting to get interested now. Has it got it in running? It looks like it has. Has it done enough? It certainly has. And that looks like two to New Zealand. They take an emphatic lead now after 8 ends. Another 2, and they lead it by 13-2. Well, it's been a jolly old day so far for the Kiwis as they look for another gold medal here. It could be their third at these championships, and emerging as the dominant nation. The 2008 titles.
Yes, some excitement amongst the New Zealand players as they soar to a 13-2 lead after 8 of the 18 ends are being played. It's New Zealand certainly been dominant, and the bonus shots played by Gary Lawson has made the score out to a convincing 11-point lead to New Zealand.
Bill Cornell's Australian spirits must just be flagging a little as he sends one long. It's a poor bowl by Billy's recent standards. He's been on the jack or thereabouts, and a longer jack this one. Todd's opener, pretty handy.
Well, there's confidence in the voice of the New Zealand players. We see Andrew Todd falling about a metre short from the jack, but he gets a short applause from Gary Lawson and says, well done. They're certainly playing with high spirits at the present time.
Bill Cornell's racing after this one.
Well played, mate.
Just to slip under. Oh, it doesn't. So Andrew Todd, they could just about put the Australians away if they were to score here in the 9th end at the halfway point. Leading by 11. Gee, they'd have taken that at the start of the day. Can we be 11 up after 9 ends?
Yes, what a great start it has been for New Zealand. Andrew Todd continuing down his backhand side of the green. Right hand side as the viewers look at it. Gary Lawson asks for him to come behind, and he's just falling up short. Andrew Todd, but looser bowl from Toddy.
The Australians, Terry, staying on this backhand side as all that traffic just short of the jack.
It's extremely difficult for Wayne Turley. He's got a chance of moving Bill Cornell's bowl closer to the jack, but just with draw weight, he's not going to get it up there. Certainly looks as though the other side of the green would be more favourable in this situation.
Well, 13-2 down. Ian Schubacher looks a little bit grim for the Australian 4. You see any way out of this?
Oh, well, absolutely, Steve. Yeah. Glass is always half full. We saw Billy Cornell's change to the wide side, followed Andrew Todd down. Billy Cornell's is still leading well, but the scores are still not favouring Australia. So I guess plan B now is to change mat or jack position, preferably mat position. I think New Zealand are giving the mat away when they're winning the end. So I think if New Zealand perhaps win this end, we might see a radical change of mat position. See Billy Cornell's bring the mat halfway up the rink.
Turley's bowl might get some luck here. New Zealand still holding. And Shuey, it just looks like the New Zealand 4 have brought their very best form to the final. That's what you want, isn't it?
That's right, Steve. They've really got all the momentum. Not only are they getting the right rub of the green, Mark Casey, he's had a lot of bad luck, and you know, that can play on your mind as well. So you mentioned 11 behind. I said earlier that Australia had to win 2 of the next 3 ends where they've lost the previous end, and look at that bowl from Richard Gervin right on behind the jack. Now New Zealand holding 2, and there's only a backhand trail on for Nathan Rice. So this is probably the most important match of the end if Australia is to mount a comeback.
Yes, we see the replay of the Richard Gervin bowl. That's an outstanding bowl from Richard Gervin. Has just sometimes struggled, but on this occasion, shot from Richard Gervin.
Running hard at this, Rice. Can he get luck here? Not much. Maybe.
Effort, mate.
Well, at least it has opened up. We can see the running bowl from Rice. Gets onto the Todd bowl. Through onto the Gervin bowl. The jack's moving back. The Todd bowl going with it. Touches the green bowl behind. Well, it's opened it up for Australia. Chance for them to draw. Chance for all players to draw as Russell Meyer goes back to deliver his first bowl. Will be on the forehand. Russell Meyer.
Chewy. I can see the flags behind you just moving a little bit. Is that any of that much talked about breeze starting to filter in now?
Well, I hope Terry was right. It's not coming in really, Steve, and I think the Aussies need something. They need to not only change the pattern of that. Well, look at that. Russell Meyer trials the jack. He's holding 2 shots.
They can do no wrong.
Yes, it's certainly all going New Zealand way at the present time. Russell Meyer trailing the jack. He was heavy, but gave the bowler a chance, moving the jack back. 2 shots to New Zealand.
Russell Meyer and Gary Lawson got their eye on a second gold medal here. Terry, this would be far beyond what I guess even the optimistic bowls community in New Zealand would have hoped for. The kind of reward they're getting here.
Oh, certainly so. And what a great reply from Nathan Rice. That's an excellent bowl. He was 2 down. That may be just the shot that Australia need to get themselves back into this game. Yes, certainly so from New Zealand point of view. And I think it should be a change in the record books for New Zealand too, because I don't think on any previous occasion one player has won 2 gold medals. As we see the bowl from Nathan Rice pick up the yellow jack and take it through to the ditch.
Just about unbeatable, except I think there is a New Zealand toucher on the rink, isn't there? And if they can promote that towards the ditch, they could still get something out of this.
And that's what Russell Meyer's looking at doing. It's his previous bowl that moved the jack back. He just goes past it there, the toucher. We can see the white chalk mark on the red bowl. That's what they're looking to put through to the ditch, is that toucher bowl. Yes, as I was saying, I don't think there's been a previous occasion where one New Zealander bowler has won 2 gold medals at the same World Bowls, and there's opportunity now for Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer to do so.
Well, Ian Schuback, is this the little turnaround perhaps? They've got to build on this. Very hard to get a second shot, but what do you see?
Yes, well, as I said, Steve, they need to win a couple of ends in a row, this one and the next, and maybe then there's a chance. I'm just not sure if they hold this one shot, whether they'll keep the mat or give it away. I think they'll probably give it away. Cameron Curtis, the Australian coach, alongside me here, he's just saying, no, we won't take it. We'll give Casey last bowl. So that could be enough reason to change the momentum. But the ways New Zealand's playing, they're likely to punch this toucher right on top of the jack. Lawson looks wide.
Unless he gets a spear across towards it like this. Ah, he's pushed it. He's pushed it in, but wide. And that helps Australia's cause, really. The danger removed in that sense. But New Zealand won the 5 previous ends.
Hurry now.
Went from 4-2 up to 13-2.
Come on. Hurry up.
Nearly sneaking through.
The red ball beat the green. Beat the front green, yes.
Of course, Lawson's got that opportunity. I think that the bowl of Richard Gervin is also a toucher, and that's the one that he's looking for. He needs to get the green bowl onto it. No.
Can't do it. So finally, a little bit of joy for the Australian 4 as they win an end for just the 2nd time in this gold medal match. A single to Australia, advancing their score to 3, but they still trail by 10. Australia has indeed given away the mat. Andrew Todd in the rather unfamiliar position of bowling first after a string of successful ends for New Zealand. Lovely opener from Todd. Cornells will follow him down on that forehand side. Australia to have any chance here in this final, you feel they must put a run of ends together And a short bowl from Billy Cornell's not quite what was required.
Yes, certainly so. We saw New Zealand, as we said earlier, go from 4 to 13, put 5 ends together, and it's an opportunity now for Australia to do that. It's important that they do that to keep themselves in this game.
Todd's second. Just adding half a metre of weight.
Better, mate.
Weight added also by Bill Cornell's. How's his line? It's coming in. Might get a,
Hold for it, mate.
piece
Well
of that
played,
shot
Billy.
ball. It does, and hangs around. Good adjustment from Bill Cornell's. That's the lead's job, isn't it, Terry? If they're just off with their first, they've got to make that subtle change.
Certainly so. And Bill Cornell's with his first bowl, good metre and a half short of the jack, had to make the correction and did so, sitting on to the Andrew Todd bowl, picking up the shot. As Richard Gervin delivers his first bowl and quickly turns his back on it. We can see it drifting in there, very short, good couple of metres short of the jack. Not a good bowl from Richard Gervin. Just noticed a few times coming this particular way, Wayne Turley's been slightly narrow. On this occasion he is narrow, he picks up the jack. Well, fortuitously for him, still retains the shot.
Your track's good, mate. Duck in there.
Would have been a good head to build for Australia without moving the jack, with those blockers on the centre line.
Certainly so. It was unfortunate for Wayne Turley then moving the jack, opening it up, giving a bit more room for the New Zealanders to get in.
Well, promoted his short bowl, but not into the count.
Yes, Richard Gervin won't be happy with those two bowls. Down on the head, Australia holding 2. Wayne Turley changes his hand.
Turley.
Great shot.
Played another excellent bowl. Australia perhaps holding 3 according to our marker. Mort Young. So they need multiples too, Terry?
Yes, certainly do. It's an opportunity for Australia here. Very good ball from Wayne Turley. Right behind the jack. Now it's Russell Myers' turn to respond. New Zealand need to get something reasonably close.
Looks a more positive mood, Ian Schuback, amongst the Australian 4. A few smiles, a bit more spring in the step.
Yes, Steve, but they haven't been able to hold the shots. Although they might be thinking back to the men's triples final when Fiji trailed Scotland 4 shots to 15, and going into the last end, Scotland led 15-14. So that was a massive comeback for Fiji in the men's triples final, and Australia at the moment holding 2, maybe 3 shots. But we've still got 1 from Russell Meyer and 2 from Gary Lawson.
Australia certainly cannot drop shots here in the 10th. Holding at the moment. Nathan Rice.
Track, mate. Easy.
Very close, mate.
Great effort, mate.
Australia currently holding
2 feet.
at least 2 shots. Russell Meyer bringing up the Richard Gervin bowl. Definitely holding the red bowl we've seen there just behind the jack. And possibly one other shot with the green Bill Cornell's bowl. Russell Meyer looks to be heavy. Drifting past. Really only looking to draw one of the loosest bowls from Russell Meyer so far throughout this game. He's allowed one every now and then.
Well, that's what the Australians have got to hope for across the 18 ends, that 1 or 2 of this brilliant New Zealand 4 go slightly off the boil give them a bit of a chance.
No one in there, mate. Well done. Very good, help.
Might only be holding one, Australia, I think, Terry. It's, Marker thinks one, but your eyes are better than mine.
A little bit younger eyes.
Is it? Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yes, well, we can see it there, definitely. The one shot as the three New Zealanders look on. Gary Lawson.
I went to the optometrist recently. She told me I still had two eyes. That was...
It's unusual for an Australian.
What, she can count to two?
No, normally a little bit one-eyed. There's Gary Lawson. He didn't want that rub at all. He wanted the opportunity to turn the Gervin bowl or just slip past and get the shot bowl of Australia. It's still definitely one to Australia. Yes, look at Andrew Todd. He thinks, oh, that was so close.
You know, they don't say you have 20/20 vision anymore. You know what the optometrists say? They say you've got 6 metres, you see. No, true. Mark Casey. Can he make something happen?
Well, Australia need to add to these shots. We saw the two bowls of Nathan Rice drift on through, and once again it has been Mark Casey who's drifted through. The opportunity for them to add to the count here, and they really need to.
Singles aren't going to get the job done, trailing by 10. Lawson.
It's well weighted, Lawson. Come on, Gary.
Not there. All right. One bowl to be played, and it's a must pick up bonus for Casey. Are they looking for more than the one here? What can you see, Terry, that might help the Aussie cause? I know you don't want to talk about that, but
There's certainly an opportunity for Casey. There is danger, but I think they've got to risk at some stage or another as to whether they want to make shots. If they've only got one shot, then maybe there's an opportunity of playing down on the forehand and coming through the front gap, removing the purple bowl we can see there of Richard Gervin in front of the jack. Now that's danger, because if they get the movement of the jack, anything could happen. Do they look at doing that, or just drawing on the backhand? Any touch of the jack would also be in their favour. Well, it's Mark Casey that has to go back to the mat and decide what he is going to do. As he picks up his bowl.
sometimes it looks and feels a little bit different on the mat to standing above the kitty, and he's got to play the shot that he can see and feel. Do they like it?
Don't know if he's got enough green to get around the front bowls.
Doesn't want to give anything away here.
Well, there you are.
Well, he's got something. He might. I think they've got three.
Definitely got two. We've taken out the two bowls. He got onto the pink bowl of Gary Lawson's and moved that up. Now, I think they did actually have two shots beforehand.
The mark was only holding one, which was fooling me a little, and the Australians were sort of not overreacting there when that one came through. They must have always felt they were holding two.
The measure goes around, and it's 3-2 Australia.
Oh, that's their best score of the match. Oh, just what the doctor ordered for the trailing team. Double their score in one end. 13-6 it is in the fours final. A little bit of a change coming over the match, perhaps.
Yes, it was the fortune that favoured Australia on that occasion. Mark Casey slightly narrow with his last bowl, but got a result. So they definitely held the two shots before he played his last bowl. That's why he was looking to just add, and he did so.
Start of the 11th end, Andrew Todd sends away the first bowl. I think, at least from the point of view of neutral observers, Terry, you don't want to see a totally one-sided final in a gold medal game. You want to see someone make a fight of it and increase the tension. I'm sure New Zealanders would have been quite happy to just keep adding the numbers in.
Yes, certainly so, and there's been some outstanding bowls from both the teams on the way through this final so far, and as you say, from a neutral point of view, that's what the spectators want to see, the changing of the shots, the movement of the jack, the draw, the drive, the various skills displayed by these players. And but from each of the teams' perspective, they want to win, and they want to win by as much as they can.
I was watching one of the women's pairs semi-finals yesterday between Australia and England, and there was such fantastic drama towards the end. And the crowd was just riding every bowl, and there's seems like the matches hang on the outcome of each delivery. It really adds something.
Oh, it certainly did, and there was tremendous support from the English and Australian spectators, but it was the other people that were enthralled with the outstanding bowls that were being played, and it was right until the last bowl of that game that before the end result was actually known. So it was great to see, and that's what the World Championships is all about.
Billy Cornell's peering out from under that weather-beaten Aussie cap.
2 metre mark, mate.
And it's Andrew Todd. He's got the better of him at the start of this 11th.
Richard Gervin, his first bowl, which gets an applause from Russell Meyer. Very good bowl from Richard Gervin in behind.
Second.
Well, Ian Schuback, the Aussies picking up 4 shots in 2 ends, and breathing a little bit of life back into their effort today.
Yes, Steve, and Aussie coach Cameron Curtis just said if Aussies could win the next 2 ends, they're right back in this match. A couple down at the moment. There's looks to be a good backhand drive on for the right-handers, or for the lefty Casey, a forehand drive. So just trying to get second shot first. It's really a must-win end for Australia. They've you mentioned 4 shots on 2 ends, but still trailing by 7. Just got some momentum going, but in deep trouble at the moment.
Yes, well, that backhand drive was certainly there until Wayne Turley played his last bowl and blocked the line. We saw it fall on the chalk line. It certainly blocked it up from the Australian point of view.
Come on, Gervin. Hurry, buddy.
Gervin talking this one to a good home. Oh, that's a bit special. Looks like Wayne Turley might be rumbling up the middle there, Shuey.
Yeah, there's plenty of weight on this, Steve. He'll be hoping to kill the end, propel the jack off the rink. Looks wide.
Yeah.
Yes, it's important for Australia to open up the front as the New Zealanders come together in the middle of the rink for a discussion as to what tactics they will now employ. But Australia certainly need to open it up, give themselves an opportunity to get to the jack. It's blocked up by 3 or 4 short bowls as we see the New Zealanders discussing what their options are as Russell Meyer goes back, and we have a look at it there. 3 shots to New Zealand, the 2 bowls of Andrew Todd and the 1 of Richard Gervin.
So this might be the defining moment of the match. Australia's made a little bit of a run at New Zealand with a single and then a 3 in the 9th and 10th ends. But if they can answer now, the challenge could be repelled. Russell Meyer. On its way, and Lawson steps in. Does he like it? Does he like it? Well, that's another one in there. Not too much chat amongst the Australians. I think they know what's got to be done here, Terry.
I think we'll certainly see Nathan Rice putting as much energy as he can into hitting those front bowls. He needs to open it up. It's the New Zealanders that hold 4 shots. Nathan Rice, yes, definitely on the drive. Down the centre line it's coming, and he's going to get a result. He does. He gets onto one of the short bowls. It's still 2 to New Zealand.
And the jack a little bit more accessible. It was an accurate drive from Rice, not quite the perfect result. But up the middle. Oh, he would love to have had contact on that jack as his bowl followed through.
He's very nearly got the perfect result. Bowl's going past the jack and it still sits there.
Meyer, forehand, and just build the count once more. Add to the pressure and the misery of the Australians, but they're in this with a good fight. Might be a block. Wow.
Well, if it was, it's not a bad one.
And Schubeck, what do you see Nathan playing here? Looks shaping up on the forehand.
Yes, well, Mark Casey, the Australian skipper, has called Nathan to try and draw a second shot. The Aussies are 4 down at the moment, Steve, so maybe Casey's just trying to minimise the damage so he can attack. It's looking pretty good, this bowl from Nathan Rice.
Right, mate. Very good.
Falls in and looks second shot, Shuey.
Absolutely, Steve. That was a top shot, although I really think the Aussies need to win this end. The last couple of ends picked up a 3 and a single, but it's going to be hard to get that jack away from Russell or Richard Gervin's bowl directly behind the jack.
Yes, that's right. Terry, you see any way for it to be removed?
Yeah, well, I really was surprised. I know that they were at least a couple of shots down, possibly even 3, but I think that the head had to be opened up. As Ian mentioned, it was important for Australia to continue on their scoring run at the present time, picking up the 1 and the 3. They needed to score again. Second shot's not going to get the score for them. It's difficult. Gary Lawson on the forehand, also falling short. Well, I think Australia are very, very much committed now to the draw.
Yes, there's good news there, Terry, in the fact that Rice's bowl is just short of the jack. So what Mark Casey would be looking for would be an inside edge off Nathan Rice's bowl onto the shot bowl or the jack.
Well, now is the moment to execute for Casey. This has got to be good. Again, very little time spent on the mat. That's his way. Oh, he doesn't like it. Drops the head.
It's very heavy and wide. Not a good bowl from Casey.
Looks into the stands. That's average, I'm afraid, from Mark Casey, and he knew it from the moment it left his hand. Seven-shot lead for New Zealand, and holding at the moment. Looking at 14-6 with the 12th end to come. Almost 2/3 of the way through.
Yes, well, Gary Lawson had a conference with Richard Gervin and Russell Meyer. Decision been made as to what he is going to play. I just think, really, to be quite honest, it's an opportunity for Lawson to draw another shot, make it harder for Casey to get in. There's only one shot for Casey to play, and that is, as Ian mentioned, to draw off the yellow bowl of Nathan Rice. So Gary Lawson on the forehand, looking to add.
Play the shot before your opponent. How's this looking? Not quite. It's about the track. A little bit of a sider for Casey, although it's coming out of the opposite hand for the Aussie. A couple of left-handers playing in this match. How's this one? He looks a bit more interested. Will it come back? It will not. Well, the damage could have been a lot worse than that. But it is another one to New Zealand. They're back in control. They just nudge their total out to 14. They have one hand on this gold medal. It's 14-6 in the men's fours. Well, the Aussies have given it their very best here. They've played some wonderful bowls, but the problem for them today, as they trail by 8, is that New Zealand's effort has been just that little bit better. Andrew Todd, Richard Gervin, Russell Meyer, Gary Lawson are driving this match. The Aussies have advanced the mat.
Yes, and this is what Ian Schuback spoke about, that if they did lose the end and took the mat, that they would possibly be some movement, and there definitely has been. They've brought the mat up to just probably a metre, metre and a half short of the distance peg and thrown a 2-metre jack. So this would be interesting to see how the players change to or adapt to this change of length of end and length of mat.
For our non-bowling viewers, minimum length 23 metres, so you're looking at around 24 and a half there, Terry.
Yes, certainly so, and Bill Canals has got onto it reasonably quickly, coming up half metre short of the jack. Good opening bowl. As Andrew Todd continues to play down the same side of the green that he has done throughout this game.
That might be a bit quick.
Certainly is.
And won't even keep it on the rink. So there we go. A little promising reward. The Australians shifting up the mat. Just finding out Andrew Todd on his first, but he's a quality player. Should adjust. Second for Cornells.
All right, mate.
Come, buddy.
May not be wasted on the centre line, I sometimes think.
Andrew Todd's second bowl has certainly made a very good correction. Only had a lot of room to correct.
Well done, mate.
Good effort from Andrew Todd. Still one shot to Australia. It's Wayne Turley. First bowl on this, the 12th end. Completion of this, 2/3 of the way through the game.
Thanks, mate.
Wayne Turley struggling to adjust to the change of length.
Yes, you can try and find out your opposition with the change of length, but it can also sort your teammates out.
Yes, well, it's just interesting to see how these players have adapted to the change, and certainly all struggled at the moment. As Richard Gervin, left-hander, to be in the area, slightly tighter than the previous bowls that come down. If he sneaks underneath the shot bowl, he doesn't. All those bowls falling a good half-metre short of the jack.
Wayne Turley needs to find a metre on his last. He's taken a wider line.
I don't know, mate. You think about your line. Just draw one down here for me, mate.
So we clearly hear the directions from Gary Lawson. Think about your line. Draw one down here for me, mate. Can Richard Gervin produce the goods for him?
Terry, I think our viewers love hearing what the skips have to say. It's something they can incorporate into their own games at club level, perhaps. Kind of positive messages that go out.
Yes, it is certainly great, and look at that from Richard Gervin. We heard what Gary Lawson wanted, and we've seen what Richard Gervin has delivered.
So straight away, pressure back on Australia, trailing by 8 shots. A held shot, but Gervin had something to say about that.
As we see the bowl coming in and nestling in front of the jack, and now it's protected from 5 short bowls. Skills draws of each of the players will now come into question.
So Rice has got to negotiate that short bowl of Turley, but he's taken too wide a line, I think. Won't come back enough. It's fairly narrow drawing bowl. It's over to Russell Meyer.
As we see Nathan Rice looking on and pondering the situation that the Australians are currently in. 14-6 down after 11 ends. It's important for them to score on this end if they wish to continue to play a part in this game.
It's a tricky jack to find today.
It certainly is on this end as we see the bowl from Russell Meyer travel towards the ditch.
Find the jack down there, mate. Might get one of the front ones out of the way.
Rice is coming up with a bit more weight here, looking for some kind of promotion perhaps of that bowl. And just like that.
Well, what a result it was for Australia.
Well, was he playing for that?
Well, I don't think he was playing for that, but certainly looking to come through the front bowls to create some opportunities for the Australian side. And he got the desired result. Russell Meyer, backhand, looking to at least keep his bowl on the green. It's important for New Zealand to get one in there. They're currently 2 shots down. Russell Meyer's got something to say about that, I'm sure. As he draws second shot.
Well done.
As we see it's unusual, well, a spectator sneaking in behind the fence there, the father of Gary Lawson, Stan Lawson, just taking some time out from driving the Blue Star taxi. Inspect on his son to see how he's performing in this gold medal match.
Hoping to pick him up later with a gold medal around his neck and give him a free ride somewhere.
Well, you know, the celebrations, he'll probably need a ride.
Yeah. That'd be a sensible option. All right, Mark Casey.
Let's not look at the celebrations yet. There's still 7 ends to be completed in this match, and Australia currently holding the 1 shot. Casey to draw a second. Sits on the bowls behind. I'm not too sure if it'll be in the count.
I think still just the 1 to Australia. Just behind that end, and got a pretty good look at that. Still New Zealand holding second shot. They can drop a single here, New Zealand, and not feel too uncomfortable.
Just the draw from Gary Lawson. 1 down.
First of Lawson's 2 bowls, so he'll have the last say in this end. 12th of 18. Nope. Nothing for that, as we say. Casey going to come have a quick chat to Wayne Turley here.
I think it's the opportune time for Casey to perhaps take a risk here. Look at trying to turn the Russell Meyer bowl, the red bowl that's sitting immediately behind the jack. Opportunity to turn that back and give Australia 3 or possibly 4 shots if he stays there himself. May well be the time he needs to take that chance. There is risk involved, but at 14-6 behind, Australia need to score possibly more than 1 shot to keep themselves involved in this game.
Yes, if they settle for just the 1, Terry, with 6 ends to play, they'd still be 7 shots behind, and that's a long way to come back. Fortune favours the bold.
That is what Casey is looking at. Playing with some weight. He looks to be pretty much on target. He's asking for it to hold. He's got onto the shot bolt, onto the jack. Oh, well,
no.
It's gone drastically wrong for him. It's 1 to New Zealand, definitely.
No luck at all for Mark Casey, and that could be the match right there. He was trying to not hit that bowl. He was looking for the New Zealand bowl, the second shot. Instead, he got the shot bowl, the jack moved, and it's a nightmare.
Well, the situation, you see it now, is the purple bowl of Richard Gervin is the shot. New Zealand definitely holding 1. Opportunity for Lawson to once again add. On the forehand. Second shot even possibly worth a couple more to New Zealand. So whether Lawson looks at playing with some weight to the second shot, because the shot bowl is very well protected from the front ones, I think we'll see Lawson playing with weight on his forehand. He definitely is. He's looking for the second shot bowl of Australia. He's got to be close. He's pretty much on. Oh, well. chance for New Zealand to pick up some shots. They definitely get the one as Russell Meyer will take the measure out.
And this is a big measure for the context of this game. Do they get more than one here?
Just the one, I think.
Just the one to New Zealand, but they've got a very strong hold on this match now as we reach 2/3 of the way through the match, and New Zealand leading it by 15-6.
It was a big gamble and it didn't play off. And to be fair, Casey just hasn't had the opportunities to convert, and it's gone badly wrong when he has had that opportunity. A slice of hell then.
Yes, there was always that risk. I think it was the right shot for Casey to play. He certainly had to take the opportunity of sitting back the New Zealand bowl, picking up a possible 4 on that occasion, but as you said, it all went bad for him, and then it gave Lawson the shot for New Zealand to pick up a 3. He was unable to convert that, but however, the New Zealand 4 will definitely be happy with the one shot and going out to a 15-6 lead 2/3 of the way through the game. Great stuff for New Zealand and great opportunity for them here in this game to come out in the final 6 ends, take out the gold medal.
Bit of sunshine, the greens. Could be a little bit of moisture coming through. Will that have an effect?
I don't think there's been too much change in the green at all. There's just talking to Ken Preble earlier on there's probably been less water going on the greens over the latter stages of the tournament, so therefore it's a little bit drier underneath. I don't think there's been too much change in the green, still running around about the 18.5 seconds at beautiful conditions here at the Burnside Club.
And Andrew Todd parks his brown bowl right behind the jack for the initiative in this, the 13th end. The reply now from Bill Cannells. Always looks heavy, doesn't it? It's going to slip past. It's been a very good performance from Andrew Todd, a player that was brought into that New Zealand side fairly late from Australia. Hadn't played a lot of bowls in New Zealand. The selectors went for him. Fair bit of discussion around bowls traps. Where did he come from? What had he done? But on this performance, you have to say he is a very good specialist lead.
Yes, it certainly was, and I know that his name was thrown around by some players earlier on, and probably was a controversial selection, and a lot of discussion took place over the odd jug of beer and fish and chips as to whether it was a worthwhile selection. He certainly proved the point today in this event. Earlier on, we saw the bowls of Bill Cannells dominate. However, it's been Andrew Todd.
Turley on the drive, looking for either the jack or the bowl. He's got a chance here of getting the bowl. He does do so.
Yes, well, you know, Bill Cannells a little bit wayward with his first 2 bowls on this end, allowing Todd to draw the shots.
One person in the grandstand that's not surprised at all from Andrew Todd is Yushu.
That's right, Stewie. Toddy's been coached by the Australian coach Cameron Curtis and myself at the Hills Bowling Club in Sydney. We spoke to the New South Wales selectors to pick Andrew Todd as a specialist lead for New South Wales. They ignored that advice, but the New Zealand selectors have picked him up, and now he looks like becoming the world champion.
Yeah, great story, Shoot. Great story. And what a ball from Richard Gervin. He arrives behind the jack as well.
Oh, well, Richard Gervin has picked up his game. He was a little bit loose earlier on, but over the last few ends, we've seen some great bowls as it's forcing Australia into the drive. Wayne Turley on the drive again. Not a good drive from Wayne Turley as we see it going down and missing altogether. Well, all the pressure on Australia.
Oh, it's chaos on the green, with Australian driving, New Zealand drawing, and that's a very interesting point. Another player, of course, that the New South Wales selectors have picked is Peter Bellis at his age.
Now cut that out, Stu. He's not that old, Peter Bellis, former world champion. You've dismissed him now, relegated him to a New South Wales representative. Bellis is probably the best player New Zealand has ever produced. Maybe now with the exception of Gary Lawson.
It's interesting already around the traps. There's a lot of discussion on the great bowls players for New Zealand over the years, and the modern era. Well, Gary Lawson has suddenly emerged in the top 3, I would have thought. Terry?
Oh, certainly so, and I don't think we can put aside Russell Meyer as well. Russell Meyer has competed in 5 World Bowls events. Actually, this will be his 6th World Bowls event that Russell Meyer has competed in, and he has won medals in all 6 of those events he's played in. He's won bronze, he's won gold, and on his way to another gold. 4 bronze medals he won, and now he's on his way to his 2nd gold. So, you know, he's got to be up there with the top echelon of legends of New Zealand bowls.
Nathan Rice with the yellow bowl. He's been outstanding, Nathan Rice, for me. I think he's been good on the draw. He's also been now on the attack on the drive is Nathan Rice, and he misses. Big gap.
Well, desperate stuff from Australia. In all sorts of trouble, 15-6 down.
I can assure you, Shu, I wasn't dismissing Peter Bellis. In fact, I would suggest that he's playing as well as he ever has, and you would be not unexpected to have seen him if he hadn't been dropped prematurely, in my mind, in this New Zealand side.
Well, that's right. I think, you know, we've got new world champions in the men's pairs with Russell Meyer and Gary Lawson, and I personally felt that the best pairs combination New Zealand has ever produced was Rowan Brassey and Peter Bellis. And I was surprised that New Zealand split that combination up, and Peter went on to skip team events, and Brassey ended up playing singles. And yeah, I think Peter Bellis, all the years that I played against him, would still be in my mind the best player that I've seen come out of New Zealand.
And I think the big development in bowls for New Zealand is the experience that people like Andrew Todd, Russell Meyer, Richard Gervin, and now, of course, Gary Lawson are getting in your Super League and playing in Australia.
That's right, Stewie. The Premier League in Sydney is better than state bowls in Australia, and every top player in the country, and indeed overseas. We've got Jeremy Henry and Ian McClure from Ireland are playing Premier League. We've got the Canadian Bester. He's playing there at well, here's another drive coming up, looking wide. And it's the only tactic now Australia have to try and kill the end. And yeah, I guess it's good for the New Zealand selectors that your top players get the experience of playing in Premier League in Sydney.
Yes, opportunity here for New Zealand, holding 2 shots. Some very good words there from Ian Schuback about the opportunities that have been given to the New Zealanders to play in the Australian Premier League, and I think we've seen a huge development in the game and the skills of these players as a result of that, as Russell Meyer looking to draw to the centre line, that chalk line right down the middle of the rink, which is used for straightening of the jack, but also gives the opportunity for players to draw to cover this, because Australia are now committed to the drive. It's going to be Mark Casey who will come back to the mat and looking to get a kill in this end.
Mark Casey, big bowl for him, try and get a kill. It's interesting, of course, New Zealand picks players playing overseas. The All Blacks, of course, won't pick them if they leave our shores. Different in the game of bowls. The left-hander Casey on the launching pad, looking for a huge splash. He needs the jack. It's on its way. It'll miss. Well, it's not been a great driving display.
No, it was.
I saw better at Addington last night.
Yes, but they weren't driving the horses that we were backing.
Driving in the birdcage. So for Gary Lawson?
Well, currently New Zealand holding 2 shots. May just look at trying to put the block in with this bowl.
Lawson, you see him, if you see at the mat there, he's right on the edge of the mat. There he is, see, right on the edge of the mat, Lawson. Now he's going for the bowl that's holding him out of plenty of shots. He's got a chance, does he get it? Oh, just missed on the left-hand side.
Well, of course, all the bowls that are remaining on the green are the New Zealand bowls, so it's an opportunity for Lawson to have a shot at the Australian green bowl that we could just see there sitting to the left of the jack. So the Australians are thinking, what do we do now? They're committed to the drive.
Oh, they've got problems now, though, mate. They've got problems now. Keep driving and miss, and you can kiss a chance of a gold medal goodbye.
Oh, well, they've got a sniff of what Lawson is looking at, and we can see it there, the green bowl at the top of the picture there.
Oh, they're having a conference now. Oh, they've seen the danger.
Well, Will Australia Day turn into New Zealand Day? Of course, I think of my good mate in Australia, Trevor Morris, who will probably be just heading out to the Eastern Suburbs Club now to have some prawns on the barbie and celebrate Australian Day. We always make contact with each other today, and I'll be in touch with him later on the day and telling him how New Zealand spoiled the Australian Day for this this fours team.
So here it is then. It is Mark Casey of Australia. Now he's going to draw. He's on the draw. Decided to try and make certain that Lawson doesn't have a big picnic by taking out their third shot bowl. So he's on the draw. They've been driving. Can he save it? Mark Casey running towards the head. There's a big gap. He'll slide past Willie. Just gets an edge, and he's now just one down.
A very good bowl from Mark Casey, but I just really wonder, I mean, New Zealand getting 1 or 6 I don't think is going to make too much difference to the end result of this game, to be quite honest. And it just sort of seems as though Australia are conceding that they were prepared to give New Zealand the one shot, and 16-6 with 5 ends to go is going to be an extremely difficult task for Australia.
Aussie point of view, Shu, what's it for you?
Yeah, I'm with Terry on that, Stu. I think perhaps, as Terry just said, you might as well go 4 or 5 down as go 1 down in this scenario. And Lawson sort of put out the challenge to Casey to have another drive, swing and a miss, and Lawson would have taken the Aussie bowl out for 4 or 5. But they'd be very happy to pick up 1 here. It's looking good for number 2.
Big chance here for Gary Lawson's pink bowl arriving and just slips past. It's 1-2 New Zealand after 13 of the 18 ends. In the race for gold, it's New Zealand that leads by 16-6. Fair bit of humour amongst the Australian 4. They're pretty relaxed about it, you have to say, taking very good spirits. What is their best chance then, Ian Schuback, to come into this match and in fact pressure New Zealand to dropping a big number?
Well, Stu, there's an old saying, if in doubt, ditch to ditch, but Australia have tried that and failed, so there's only one option left. Matt back, Jack in the middle of the green and go ultra short, 20, 24, 25 metres.
It's one of the things we don't often see in the game these days, Ian, is the mat back and just throwing the jack over the distance peg. So it'll be interesting to see how the players respond to this. Yeah, well, Terry, I'm surprised that the rule was changed, from 21 metres to 23. I mean, you can't really roll the jack minimum 23. You've got to go 24 to 25 to be safe, and that's like a medium length compared to the old days of 21 metre minimum. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. I think a couple of the rule changes haven't really gone down that favourably. Certainly we've talked about it in the past of the giving of the jack or the mat away, and I think the one of changing the length to the 23 metres, it's just made it's less of a chance to get such a big variance from a short to long end.
He's played it well, Bill Cornells of Australia right behind the jack. That's a good lead bowl. The final international outing, the final outing for Australia for this very good lead, Bill Cornells, and the arrival of Andrew Todd. Bit short. Quickly onto the mat. Cornells doesn't muck around. Need a big number, Australia. And the way to get a big number is get a lot of bowls around the jack. Arriving pretty well. Makes a couple. Be a lot of New Zealanders and I'm sure Australians chance of seeing Andrew Todd on the international stage. And he's been impressive. As he is again here. Australia have 2.
Australia currently holding at least 2 shots. Need to weigh up the scenario of 10 behind with 5 ends to go. Let's look at picking up a couple of shots each end, boys. But Richard Gervin's certainly got some other thoughts. He's really come on to his game in the second half of these 13 ends that have been played. Richard Gervin, a very, very good bowl.
A lot of interest early on in the fours competition. They started off, the New Zealanders, with Gervin at 3, Meyer at 2. I think the theory was that Meyer was doing so well in the pairs on the draw. Good bowl here, arrived from Turley. They have 2 again. And then after the Australian loss, they lost by 20 to 10, the New Zealanders went back to the lineup they've been playing for Asia Pacifics and also the Nationals, to have Meyer at 3 and Gervin at 2. I wonder how significant that was, that change.
Yes, well, I think possibly it was a chance to bring Gervin back into the fours game. He had been skipping the triple, had been playing a lot of shot play, opportunity to get him back into a team situation where he was possibly doing some drawing, some shot play, and then of course they had that disastrous game against Australia in the round robin play. But let's not put that down to some poor bowls. I think the conditions were extremely difficult on the occasion and Australia adapted to it better on the day. However, the New Zealand team did change back to their original playing positions that they have performed in right throughout the build-up for the Squirrel Bowls, and we've certainly seen some great results from their team as they've gone through from there.
Shu, were you surprised by that lineup that they started with, the New Zealand 4?
Oh, we'd, from an Aussie point of view, would prefer to see Gervin at 3. I just think under pressure, I think Russell Meyer's a steadier player, and Australia got a big opportunity here. They're holding 3, maybe 4, and there's only one Gervin bowl near the jack, Stu. So this is a huge 3 bowls coming up for 2 from Lawson and 2 from Meyer. So they've got, I'd say they're 4 down at the moment.
I see there that the Mort Young just showing 3. We're a bit closer probably down this end. Shu looks 3 perhaps, but yeah, there is some danger there. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, New Zealand, it's important for them to get another bowl on the head. As Shuey said, only the one blue bowl, or the purple bowl from New Zealand, the Gervin bowl, which was second shot, sat out by Wayne Turley in a very, very good bowl. Australia lying 3 shots, 2 opening draw bowls from Bill Canals counting.
Now we see the draw of Russell Meyer coming towards the area now. Just not there. Oh, he left himself short. He had a great line. It's just a fraction of weight.
Yes, it's not much more that he needs. I mean, he's just pulling up less than half a metre short of the jack, and he's still 3 down. It's a very good end for Australia. They're building it very well at this stage.
They've got quite a nice way through to the jack too for another shot. They'll be playing his backhand. You see him here. There he is, across the body, backhand side. He's played well. Nathan Rice, yellow bowl. Yellow bowl always looks bigger, doesn't it, somehow on the green?
And it's definitely wide on this occasion. It seems to be just a tighter bowl than the other team members' bowls, and can pick it up very early, as we saw on that occasion. Played wide, certainly wasn't going to come back to the jack. You can see there the red bowl of Wayne Turley and the 2 green bowls of Bill Canals of the shots as Russell Meyer delivers his second bowl, taking a lot more green on this occasion than what he did with his previous. Will he come home quick enough? Looks to have too much weight on. Drifts on by.
Still 3 for Australia. Scoreline 16-6, 3 or 4. I think they're back in the game, 3 or 4, Terry Scott.
Oh, certainly so. I mean, they would love to pick up a multiple of 3 or 4 and bring them up to 10. They'd be able to put them 6 behind with 4 ends to go. Certainly be in the game, but they need to capitalise on that. They need to draw more shots, and we've got Mark Casey pretty much in the area. Lifts over one of the Australian bowls. Whether he's lifted it enough to make it count, definitely 3, possibly 4. See the red bowl short of the jack that Mark Casey lifted up onto its running surface. Needs it to roll over one more time to count, I think.
So will Lawson attack now? He's looking very straight up the mat. I think we'll see the little leprechaun, and this will be a big bowl for Gary Lawson. He's 3 down. He's on the drivers, Lawson. That's wide.
Well, Lawson needs to hit the front bowls to get some results. It's not a big target for him. It's virtually a 1.5 bowl target as we see Lawson driving, going wide. It's one of the rare occasions that Lawson has had to drive in this game.
How the game turns. Last end, Australia driving like crazy, then reduced to count with a great bowl from Casey. Now they could be in the money. He just needs to turn a couple of bowls here. Mark Casey, he's in the area. And what does he turn? Turns 1. Could be 4.
Oh, I think, to be quite honest, it's still definitely a 3. The fourth bowl would possibly be the one that Casey lifted up. We can see it there, the red bowl that's short of the jack. We've got the 3 bowls around the jack, then the red bowl. New Zealand only got the 1 bowl there, the purple bowl of Girvan. That's the only bowl they've got there.
Yeah, so if Lawson doesn't change this, then they're in huge strife. Push out the purple bowl and they're really in the money.
Yeah, but you see, Mark Casey would have to have another bowl to push
Last
that out.
bowl to come from Lawson.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, Terence. Well, he missed the opportunity then, didn't he, really? Because if he had turned over that Girvan bowl, he had huge pressure on. Just a 3, you think?
Well, Lawson having a look. A lot of discussion from the New Zealanders.
Well, he's got to be careful in case he jars out the Girvan bowl.
And he's just put his foot to that yellow bowl and said, well, you know, if I'm a bit off target with this drive, clip that yellow bowl, take out the purple bowl, we could be 5 down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yellow bowl would probably go as well. What do you do, Terry Scott? You haven't been in a final at World Bowls. You've been in a final at national level. What would you do if you're Gary Lawson now?
I was surprised he drove with his first bowl, to be quite honest. I thought that there was opportunities for him to draw. He's been drawing very, very well, Gary Lawson, on the forehand. I just wondered whether he's committed himself to the drive or whether he may say, well, there is too much danger, I'm going to go back to the draw. And I think really that is probably the best option, is Gary Lawson holding the pink bowl. I'm sure he's going to be drawing.
Well, he's better to drop 3 than drop 5. So he's on the draw, Lawson, trying to save. He just needs to skirt around the bowl in the running, the red one. Always looks narrow to me. It will be. So let's wait and see what the count is. It's the 4 for Australia, 16-10 after 14 of the 18 ends. Australia on Australian Day are back in the match.
Well, interesting. Australia took, well, they were given the mat and they threw the short end, put the mat on the 2-metre mark, threw the short end, scored a 4. I just wondered whether they should have really continued in that vein, but however, they've given it away. Andrew Todd has been handed the jack, and I'm sure that we will not see a short end from New Zealanders. When they struggled on that occasion, it was really only the 1 bowl of Richard Girvan that was effective on the last end, the 14th end of this match.
Looking a bit chirpy in the crowd now is Shu. Hey, Shu.
Well, I wouldn't say chirpy, Stewie, but yeah, 6 behind, 4 to play. It's certainly a chance. A little bit with Terry. I was surprised that they gave the mat away. This stupid rule of being able to play last, it does favour world-class players to make the conversion shots if, in fact, they're down, and go for the bonus draw if they're up. But Mark Casey hasn't been making the conversion shots, so I think he'll have to rely on Billy Cornells and Wayne Turley up front.
Todd's delivered wide. Cornell's now at the twilight of his career, and he'll be looking to get a couple close just to put some heat on this New Zealand side. 16-10, game on.
Yes, well, the opening bowls from the 2 leads, leaving a bit of room. Well, be first in, best dressed on this end. It's a very, very important end for both of these teams. Australia boy wanting to score again. Score again, they know they're definitely in with a chance. They're only 6 points behind. Still 3 more ends after this to be played, and Andrew Todd has given the opportunity to them. 2 of his poorer bowls that he has played throughout this game. It's Will Canals back on the forehand that he was playing earlier on, forced to go there because of the first bowl of Andrew Todd. But looking to draw the shot, put the pressure on the New Zealanders.
It's a bit of a wake up too for these Australians. They're starting to get pretty interested in this game again. I even see that at last Nathan Rice had decided it's Australian temperatures. He's taken off his jacket.
So I was surprised that he survived so long with it on. It's just absolutely beautiful conditions. The flags behind the stand at the end of the green are just limp. No wind at all.
Still plenty of room, as you can see on screen now. The bowls are pretty spread out. There's the flags just fluttering, aren't they? It's a glorious day, superb conditions. It's been a great match. Australia has on the comeback. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm worried about this Australian side. When they are on the march, they become very connected, very grouped together. Oh, that's close too.
Well, a looser end from all the players so far. Nearest bowl, good metre away from the jack. Chance for Gervin. Needs a correction on his last metre past. Travelling towards the jack. He hasn't got enough weight. Coming up short as well.
Is this just nerves, is this just tension, or is there a change of the conditions of the green? Ian Schuback, any change in the conditions of the green? Is it a little bit of that moisture starting to rise and making it a bit sticky, perhaps?
Well, I think so. Terry's the greenkeeping expert. He'd know. But also the breeze, as you mentioned, the breeze is a little bit fluky at the moment. But we must remember the last end, Shuey, was 24 metres. This is 31 metres. So it's a massive change from the previous end, going from minimum to almost maximum.
Yes, couldn't agree with you more, Ian. And if we look back at that last end, there was some excellent bowls in it. So the change of distance has certainly had an effect on. There's pressure coming on all 8 players.
These are world-class players. They react quickly to change of conditions, change of length.
They're only human, mate.
Oh, it's a good clash. 16-10. Playing the 15th end. 18 ends will decide the gold medal in 2008 in the 4s. Russell Meyer, still plenty of room. He's going down his backhand side, across the body. He's a very good draw player.
Has shown that throughout the tournament so far, and particularly the lead bowls he played for Gary Lawson. He's got opportunities to connect with the New Zealand bowls. Can he make sure that he does? He gets onto one of them and goes through. He's probably had a bit too much weight, given himself a chance. At the present time, it's still Australia that hold the shot.
Mort Young indicates to Australia 1 shot. So they have 1 looking to make it 2. Nathan Rice, forehand side, very tall player from Tasmania. Nice delivery, gets off the mat pretty quickly too. It's just quick. This green still, unless he's short as hell, which he is, because it just seemed to be just drifting up on that forehand side.
Yes, well, all the players are continuing to be a bit loose on this end. Opportunity for Russell Meyer, plenty of room. Needs to draw the shot for Gary Lawson, get him a little bit more comfortable. He's looking a little bit agitated, the wee man.
There's a port, you'll see it there between the bowls. That's where he wants to be. Through there, and is he there? Oh, not quite.
Well, it looked to be a very good bowl from Russell Meyer. It was certainly on target, pulled up quicker than I anticipated. I'd be surprised if there was too much moisture coming up, having that much effect on the bowls. They're all a good metre away. Watch this bowl from Nathan Rice. Going down the same hand as he did previously, just a matter of correction of weight for him. His tracking not bad. He needs to get round the short ones he has. It's definitely going to be number 1. It's 2 to Australia.
What about that from Nathan Rice? They have two, Australia. Now, Shu, we're seeing a bit of change of pressure. It's come from Australia and it's right on the New Zealanders.
Absolutely, Stu. The Aussies will be happy with that. It's not a good two, but it's a tough situation to retrieve for Gary Lawson. I think backhand just over draw weight, promote Gervin's bowl or Russell Myers' bowl. He must have the shot.
So Gary Lawson down the backhand side of his Lawson. He's got a chance to promote two bowls. He's got either Gervin's bowl, which is probably in the running, or Russell Myers' bowl in the running. The pink bowl is on its way, as is Gary Lawson. They're showing a fair bit of interest on the head. There's the bowls he needs to promote. Does he promote Gervin's? He does. Does it go too far, though?
Certainly went too far, but his own bowl followed through. May have given himself second shot. Still very close. Definitely one to Australia. Just whether he followed through enough to get second shot.
It's a fine line, wasn't it? It was a fine line to be just a draw, and it's just a one to Australia. So he's reduced the count, but it's a fine line, Terry, between playing onto that bowl and staying there, his own bowl, or just pushing the other bowl, just two turns, crack an egg.
Yes, he had the opportunities there. He played it very well, Gary Lawson, but the bowl that he connected with going through too far.
Casey has one, looking to make it two. He needs numbers on this end, as they got four in the last end. They've only scored, in fact, on four ends. But score here, and it would be very helpful. Starts to come, and it comes in a long way from this side. Here it comes. Oh, just not quite there.
Well, he got on the outside bowl of Nathan Rice and fell out. Unfortunately for him, not in the count. So you see the pink bowl of Gary Lawson, but it's still the looks a little bit deceptive there, but it's still actually the Australian bowl which is shot.
That pink bowl might have fallen on its flat.
I just don't know whether it's got up for shot though. Doubtful.
So Lawson again, same side, backhand side. He's trying to promote either his pink bowl or Myers' red bowl.
He certainly looks to have gone back to more of the draw, but he's going to get on to the Meyer bowl, and he's played it very, very well, Gary Lawson. Oh, what a great bowl, and he's delighted by that one. Promoting the Meyer bowl up for shot. That was an outstanding bowl from Gary Lawson, and he gets the appreciation from the crowd.
Oh, superb weighted bowl from Lawson. With his first, it was great. His second was even better. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Comes in, promotes the Meyer bowl, and falls, does it? Yes, it does. Now the reply from Mark Casey. Very big bowl this on the 15th end. He's probing narrow. I don't like it.
Looks to be narrow, but you don't know what result he may get unless he gets connection with the front bowl of Todd. It's definitely one to New Zealand. Oh, great bowl, Gary Lawson.
New Zealand leading by 17 to 10, 17 to 10 after 15 of the 18 ends in the battle for gold here at Burnside in the World Championships. Well, shoot, that bowl from Lawson, his second one, his first one was a good sighter, his second one, that could be the bowl that wins the gold.
Yes, I think so, Stu. It's two courageous weighted shots. It's a hard shot to play on this surface, and Gary Lawson both times was in the area with the right weight. Unlucky with the first, perfect with the second.
There's the line, isn't it, too? He had the line both bowls.
Yes, well, maybe Australia may be regretting not taking the mat and playing another short end on that last end. But anyway, it's a tall order now, 7 down, with just 3 to play.
Yes, couldn't agree with you more, Ian Shearback. It was certainly in my mind that they would continue playing the short end. They scored a magnificent 4 on it, and I was certain that they would continue in that same vein. However, it's history now, and New Zealand scored the 1 to take them out to 17 to 10.
So, battle of the bowls off the front. First of all, it was Bill Cornell's. Now it's Andrew Todd. A lot of grass, won't come back from there, Toddy. Of course, the name Todd is huge in the news at the moment. Andrew Todd here playing for gold, and of course Mark Todd making a comeback in equestrian. So at the moment, all the focus and all the highlights will be on Andrew Todd.
Certainly so, and what a great occasion for him too, coming into this New Zealand team this year and playing in a series of test matches against overseas countries, and now culminating with the World Bowls event.
Short end, this one. Remember what happened last short end? It was a 4-2 Australia. New Zealand needs bowls around that jack. Bowls around the jack. And they've been in a very strong position. But if they let Australia dictate terms like they did coming this way last time on the short end, they would be in big trouble. And Toddy gets one closer, and that would be shot.
Oh, good stuff, Andrew Todd. You'd know how important that is, particularly in light of the previous end coming in this direction. It's important for New Zealand to get them handy.
Reply from Turley. Won't be here. Got a bit of sniff of opportunity, the Australians coming this way last time with the 4. But Andrew Todd has spoilt opportunities. At the moment, Gervin says, could he get out of the way from behind the... Man, it's a bit like at the cricket, behind the sight screen. No sight screens at bowls, though. Just a crowd that move from time to time. Richard Gervin, full of concentration. He realises that a bowl behind the jack now, you want to get over the head. Bowls behind the jack now are crucial.
Oh, equally important is getting a bowl on the jack. If Richard Gervin can get one right in beside the canary, it puts the pressure on Australia, and there's 3 bowls sitting on the centre line. Second prize is getting behind.
Turley with his last. We saw a lot of him at the Nationals when he won a Nationals 4s title. Now we're seeing when the World Championships playing for gold, and he's played it well behind the jack.
It's a very good bowl from Wayne Turley. Australia currently holding 1. We can see the red bowl there. This one behind the jack as there's a conference between both the Australian teams and the New Zealand players.
Not together, separately. An important bowl for Richard Gervin, because I know that Gary Lawson realised the problems they had on this length end last time. They dropped a 4. It could have been even more dramatic, could have been more than a 4 quite easily, and Gervin's coming home quite nicely here. Towards the jack it comes. Richard Gervin on the jack. He's played it, the big fella. Yes, please.
Great stuff, Richard Gervin, and he's delighted himself. He gets a pat on the back from his teammates. Oh, that's excellent stuff, Richard Gervin. He's right behind the jack. What a great bowl.
And it was a bit of a speech came up because they had a bit of a chat, and I know that Lawson would have said, you're right, Richard, you've got to get behind the jack, and he's played just that. And he sort of said, well, what else do you want, Terry, from me? Is that good enough?
Yes, Richard Gervin put his arms out and said, well, I can't do much better than that, Gary.
Oh, it's a classic moment that was. The reply now from Nathan Rice. I like the line from Rice. He's in the area.
Oh, certainly so. It's a great line from Rice. Oh, he got a feather off the front pole. We can see it there just being on past. Well, he hit the edge of the front pole of Andrew Todd. He was pretty much on target and took him offline, moved him past the shot bowl of Gervin. Still New Zealand holding 1.
For you, Shu, can you see this developing Australia's way? They've got a couple of 1, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Gervin's bowl's the problem.
Yeah, they won't be driving at the shot bowl. They'll be trying to trail the jack, Stu, for a couple. Realistically, I think the Aussies will be trying to conjure up 3 shots on this end. I don't think 2 shots will be enough. Gervin's bowl is really well protected behind the jack. Now Russell is switching to the backhand, trying to draw to Wayne Turley's bowl just past the jack.
And he's just going to slip past.
Yes, we can hear the directions from Mark Casey, bowl jack, so he wants some movement. Move the bowl off the edge of the jack, or any movement of the jack will be in Australia favour.
Well, she's looking better for Australia now. Ian Schuback in the crowd. That's a good result, wasn't it, for Nathan Rice?
Absolutely. It's the three Aussies bowls are just behind the jack, but really Russell Meyer, Stu, he's got a great shot on here, just arriving into the pack.
It's on its way, Meyer's red bowl. You'll see it arrive at the head. He's got plenty to rest on. Here he comes. And he has played it. Like night follows day, Meyer has drawn it close.
Oh, yes, and as Ian Schuback said, he had plenty of bowls to sit on there, and Meyer played it to perfection. It's one shot to New Zealand. What a great bowl from Russell Meyer.
It's a bit sad, isn't it, when you say every bowl so crucial, so big, such a turning point. That could be a turning point.
Well, it has been. There's been some great bowls played on this end, and the players, all 8 players, are showing their great array of skills that they have, but the draw bowls have been simply quite outstanding. It was an excellent bowl from Nathan Rice to remove the shot bowl of Richard Gervin, and an equally outstanding bowl in reply from Russell Meyer.
Interest there, Mark Casey just took one ball and put it down, picked up another, the left-hander. Playing with a bit of weight. On the probe is Mark Casey of Australia, looking for a huge result. He's in the area, he's going to get something, and he doesn't get a result. Oh, you've got to feel a little bit sorry for Casey. He's had opportunities, they just haven't come off.
Yes, on a number of occasions they've generally gone against Mark Casey. He's certainly been in the area, but unfortunately for him, and that was going to be extremely difficult. The New Zealand bowl was locked in behind, in front of the 2 yellow bowls of Nathan Rice. It was going to be difficult for him to move. He played it pretty well, but unfortunately didn't get the desired result. As we see the bowl coming in there, gets onto the red bowl of Meyer. It just locks in there. Well, it's still one shot to New Zealand.
Ian Schuback, I'm interested from your perspective of watching the game through its entirety. Your player of the game so far, who's made the most difference in terms of the result?
Well, I think equally the 4 Kiwis, Stu, they've contributed well. Probably Mark Casey has had an indifferent performance. He hasn't made those conversion shots that he's well known for in this final today. I think Andrew Todd they've had a great battle with Billy Cornell's up front. Richard Gervin's been solid. He's drawn shots when Gary Lawson wanted him to. Russell Meyer always steady, and Gary Lawson has had the better of Mark Casey.
Review there from former Australian player, world indoor singles champion, coach of the Australian side, and it's just a bit of a review of the players' performance here in what's been a very high standard game of 4s. And you know, considering the number of people here, I'm sure they're enjoying it. Should be more, and I'm sure people in both Australia and New Zealand will be enjoying what is a fantastic game of lawn bowls, and it's 4s.
Certainly so. I think it's been one of the great games that we've seen. A lot of changes throughout the heads as we see Mark Casey looking to attack once again, looking for the New Zealand bowl. Just hanging slightly wide. Can he make a connection? He does make a connection, but he doesn't get a result, and it's still definitely the shot to New Zealand with Gary Lawson 1 bowl to play.
So Casey's disappointed. He's had a few chances. He's had some slices of hell with the jack going against him. And now Lawson definitely has 1. He's going to come down the backhand. He's got plenty to rest on. The Gervin bowl he could rest on. The pink bowl of Gary Lawson has 1. Does he want the bonus here at Burnside? It's on its way now from Lawson, from Canterbury. The crowd from Canterbury are here. He's drawing towards the head, always looks wide and timid. He wasn't too worried. He was more happy about a 1, I'm sure. And it will be 2 shots. 2 shots to New Zealand. It came in the count, the second shot, and so it is 19-10 after 16 of the 18 ends. 19-10, New Zealand and Australia. If New Zealand score, it's all over.
Certainly so it is. The maximum, of course, that we scored on one end is 8 shots, and New Zealand currently lead it by 9. So New Zealand score on this end, and as you said, it's all over. And we look back and we see the consistent scoring of New Zealand right throughout this game.
Bowls are rocking at Burnside, and New Zealand have a lead of 19-10 after 16 of the 18 ends. New Zealand score here, and it is gold medal time for the New Zealand 4.
Yes, Australia have had very few opportunities throughout this game. They picked up a 4 on the 14th end to give themselves a bit of hope. But if we look back at the scorecard, we see them only scoring on 4 of the 16 ends so far. And to win gold medals, that is certainly not going to be enough ends to score on. It needed to be a better performance from Australia, and they have been really shut out this game by a quality New Zealand 4.
Will this be the last 2 bowls from Bill Cornells of Australia? And this the 17th end. Todd Short turned his back on. It's a shocker. Cornells, would this be his last bowl? Could this be his last bowl for Bill Cornells of Australia? Might get wooded too by the brown bowl that's in the running. No, he skips past that. You need the jack. He's got the jack. Well, if it is his last bowl, he's done very well. He'll remember that one. But waited, but he got the jack.
Yes, he did. And, well, a little bit fortuitous to pick up the jack on the way through. However, if you're up, you can get a result.
The reply then from Andrew Todd. Heavy, better there than short. Sure, Gary Lawson saying that, and he's saying I'm happy with that. He's happy with that, Gary Lawson, little fella.
Certainly so, and I mean, disappointing first bowl from Andrew Todd on what this could be the final end. Ensure that you're up. We've seen a lot of movement of the jack, and none of it has gone forward.
Wayne Turley. Short.
Yard out, mate. You good around there?
Gervin's been impressive at 2.
Certainly has. I think his performance today has been very, very good. He's responded well, struggled a little bit earlier on, but Lawson put some demands upon him to draw shots, and Gervin certainly responded. And we see another bowl here pretty much on track from Richard Gervin, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Look at this from Richard Gervin, drawing the shot for New Zealand. Gary Lawson is happy, the New Zealand team is happy, the New Zealand spectators are happy because they can see only gold coming New Zealand way.
Turley's reply. Gervin, very much a quiet achiever in the New Zealand 4, as is Andrew Todd off the front. And then you've got a bit more exuberance from Gary Lawson, the skip. Russell Meyer, very, very steady. And got great stickability. And seems to not worry too much about, and seems unfazed about the state of the game.
Oh, certainly so. Very, very relaxed fella. And we had some time last night that we spent with the team, and they were very relaxed going into this final today. There didn't appear to be any nerves about them coming up against Australia. They simply said that we've played each other 4 times this year. It's 2-2 at the moment, so someone's going to win the third one, or the decider, and they've been very, very relaxed going in this game.
They bounced out to a very good start, didn't they? There's Gervin. Well, he's played well. The former Aucklander from Akahu Bay. I know that Danny O'Connor, one of the legends of the game in New Zealand, has been watching him today. And now he's based in Australia, and he's done very well. Very, very well indeed. He's always been good at nationally, but we've wondered about internationally, and today he has arrived on the scene.
Yes, I know that Richard was extremely disappointed after being ousted in the triples at the quarterfinal stage, and was keen to make amends in this, the 4s game, and he certainly has responded to it, and it's great to see him looking like taking home a gold medal.
Great comeback this from New Zealand when you consider they lost 20-10 in section play. It's been a little bit of a story of the championship so far, losing section play, but there's a good bowl there from Rice. That would be shot itself, losing section play and come back and take out the return match in the more important sudden death.
Yes, we talked about it earlier with Steve and just said, well, it's all on an equal playing field when we come to this final. Forget about what happened in section play. You only had to get into the top 4 of your section, address the quarter-final and the semi-final. Moving into the final, no one is the favourite. Both teams have come through equally tough competitions, and we've certainly seen that, and what a great final we've had today.
So my chance here just to rest on the Nathan Rice yellow bowl, which you'll see in your picture shortly. Red against yellow, that's what we're looking for. See the yellow there just to the right of the canary, the yellow jack. Now you see the arrival of Russell Myers' bowl. 2 chances, either the jack or the yellow bowl. He gets neither. He'll be disappointed.
Yes, opportunity. He didn't really want to come up short on that occasion. Chance to be up to the bowl, sit it through. Any movement of the jack back is going to be in New Zealand's favour. They've got the 3 bowls past the jack.
Question for you, Terry, and you, Shu. Start with you first, Shu. Australia pick up a single. Do they play the last end?
Well, where there's life, there's hope. You don't surrender your spirit. They really need a multiple count, though, Stewie. So they'll be looking to add a second. Nathan Rice holding 1. They realistically need 3 or maybe 4 shots.
You too, Terry.
Sure, he was a little bit uncommitted there, really, whether they'd play the last end or not, wasn't he? To be quite honest, as he said, though, where there's life, there's hope. I don't think anyone has ever dropped an 8 on the last end of a World Fours Championship, but I know that I would certainly be giving it a chance, and they will play the last end, I'm sure.
How about that, Shu? Has there been an 8 dropped in a World Championship to lose?
No, Stu, but the way Russell's playing and Gary, you'd almost the way they'd be feeling inside, you'd think one of them would make this conversion shot.
Big chance here, as Shubak says, down the side. You'll see red meeting yellow, or the jack. Is it the jack, or is it the back door? It's the back door. Is it falls in or out, Terry Scott?
Well, the New Zealand team are very happy about it. I'm sure that is the shot bowl. Ian may be able to pick it up. He's a little bit closer to the action.
Just had a look at Mort Young. He says definitely 1. You too, Shuey?
Brilliant backhand draw shot. Definitely 1 to New Zealand, Stu.
Rives now, back door. There it is. Russell Meyer, outstanding. Now domiciled in England, Russell Meyer. He'll be playing, of course, the World Champion of Champions. Here is Mark Casey of Australia with his first of 2 bowls as skip. That will swing away. That won't do anything at all, Mark Casey. Then it'll be Gary Lawson. Then it'll be Mark Casey with his last. New Zealand with Andrew Todd, Richard Gervin, Russell Meyer and Gary Lawson poised to win gold here at Burnside.
Very poor bowl from Mark Casey, making no contact at all, drifting away underneath the head, looking to get some contact onto the New Zealand shot bowls.
Here's Gary Lawson, his second to last bowl. It may be his last bowl, of course, for Lawson at these World Championships. And I wonder what the Leprechaun will have planned for the future. Gary Lawson, has he arrived on the international scene or not? He has definitely arrived, and he's arriving nicely here as well. And yes, he does.
Well, what that actually did was turn over. We see the green bowl of New Zealand just rocking about there, but that's the one he's turned over. That indication is that Casey must hit.
Mark Casey of Australia on the drive. Here, it's Casey on the drive. Does he hit? He hits, but he doesn't hit the right bowl. And New Zealand continue the golden days of summer here at Burnside.
Oh, simply outstanding. It's double gold for Gary Lawson and Russell Meyer. And the New Zealand other tier to make up the foursome of Andrew Todd and, of course, Richard Gervin winning their first World Championship title. What an outstanding finish and what an outstanding display from the New Zealand 4.
Oh, what amazing irony. In section play, it was Australia that won by 20-10. In the final of the World Bowls in 2008, New Zealand win by 20 to 10. What a scoreline and what a turnaround.
Oh, yes, and we can see Richard Gervin heading off to the sideline. The players are going into the stands. They're meeting up with their friends and companions. It's simply outstanding. There's cuddles all around. Oh, what a great display from the New Zealanders.
New Zealand, unbelievable performance here. There's Val Smith. We'll see her a bit later on the pairs, of course. She's playing the pairs with Joe Edwards. Gary Lawson, 2 gold medals. Russell Meyer, 2 gold medals. As they return to the playing arena, the New Zealanders have won gold here at Canterbury. And look at Lawson celebrate.
Yes, outstanding Gary Lawson as he comes back to see Dave Edwards, the New Zealand coach, and it's certainly been a golden championship for New Zealand.
Well, I think you'll agree, everyone, this was a fantastic final. Such high-quality bowls, and yet the margin at the end is quite substantial for you, New Zealand. Gary Lawson, 2 gold medals now at these championships. Give us your reaction.
Oh, this one goes to the boys. Toddy and Gervo up front were sensational today, and Stixie just, you know, he was awesome like last week, but I think he was better today. The Aussies were always going to be tough and champion team, and you know we've just reversed the score from during the week, so it's it's awesome, and the crowd was sensational, and just great day for New Zealand.
Just so good to get that early start and to keep Australia out of it for the early periods of the match.
Yeah, we probably had a little bit of you know, January luck for us early on, and that was good, and we knew that we had to get a good start because we felt if we got behind, we're probably going to be a hard day in the office for us.
Well, congratulations. I've got to talk to the other guys as well. They're looking tense over here. Andrew Todd, you've come back from Australia for this, and I bet you're pleased with the decision you've made.
Oh, absolutely. These guys are just fantastic to play with and just so supportive, and it's just the Kiwi culture. Yeah. It's great.
And Richard, I've never seen athleticism like that from you before, bounding up over the fence into the grandstand. Who's up there?
I've got my dad up there, and I have to say he's been here all week, and he's a very nervous bowls watcher, but he managed to stay in the stands for pretty much the whole time, I think. So.
And Russell, you've well got rid of that bronzy tag, haven't you now? The gold last weekend and another one this weekend. Does this one rate right up there with last weekend's one?
Oh, definitely, mate. You know, spent a lot of time trying to get one, so get 2 in 1, or 1 week or 2 weeks, it's been outstanding.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen, the gold medalists, the World Fours Bowls champions, New Zealand.
Performance by the New Zealand 4. There's Gary Lawson, Richard Gervin, world champions, and they can deserve a rest this afternoon and a celebration too for the New Zealand 4.
Well, Mark Casey and your team, I know from your very high standards you would have been disappointed with the way the game went for you today, and silver isn't what you were